You ever find yourself being completely ignored and unappreciated by the exact guy you're actively doing the most for? Would you believe me if I told you it's because the nicer you are, the meaner and worse those men will treat you? I know that it sounds horrible, but let me explain. On today's show, we're going to be discussing 7 nice girl habits all women must break so that you can finally get the men addicted to you instead of ignoring you. Welcome to the Players Club. If you're paying attention to me and everyone else in the live stream, please say here present so that I know you're here present and actively participating. Welcome all of you beautiful people. So good to see you today. I know yesterday we had a bunch of technical difficulties. I did get my PC fixed. I got a little portion that needed to be fixed. And here we are today on Tuesday. Don't worry, I'm going to make this up to you guys somehow. Most likely by doing an extra stream on Saturday. Okay, I'll just do the stream that I was supposed to do on Monday on Saturday. Okay, so I will make that up to you guys. I like to make sure I keep my promise to you guys and be here 5 days a week at the very least. Okay, I hope you guys missed me. It's only was one day that you didn't see me, but glad to have you all back. Okay, I see we got who we got over in the TikTok chat? We got Summer, we got Lee, we got Eva, we got Scotty, Rosemary, Under, we got Queen Boss, we got Debbie, Nat T. Okay, who else we got? We got Glit, we got Loose, we got Kareem. Who we got over in the YouTube chat? Welcome all you people in the TikTok chat. We got Nicole, we got Features, we got Miriam, we got Ivy, of course, Irina, Cashley is back, we got Laura, what's that? KB, Tamika is here. Nicole is here, one of our channel members. So was Tracy Niles first again today? Usually Tracy Niles be first. Yeah, she was one of the first people. Tracy Niles is here. We got Heaven here as well. Anita here. And we got Missy America holding down our YouTube chat. Welcome all you beautiful people. Let's get started. No more wasting time. No more intro. Okay, we gonna get to it now. All right, guys. Today's going to be painful, but don't worry, you'll learn something and maybe you'll come away a little bit meaner. And we want you to be meaner because that's actually when the guys will be the most attracted to you. I know it doesn't make any sense. Okay, we'll discuss, all right? First things first that you need to be getting rid of is your adjustment addiction, okay? Follow me very closely. The adjustment addiction that I'm referring to is the moment you meet a guy and he says to you, oh, well, yeah, if you want me to tell you about all my exes, what's my type? I think so. My last ex, she was blonde and she was like 5'3". And my other ex, she was a blonde, Italian girl. Oh yeah. And then I had this other, blonde Polish girlfriend for a little bit like that. So yeah, I guess you could say blonde is my type. And then the first thing you start thinking as you're on this date or as you begin dating him, you're thinking, damn, so maybe I should dye my hair blonde because maybe the brunette is going to turn him off. And when he's jackrabbiting himself inside of me for 90 seconds, when I'm blonde haired, it'll be more attractive to him. He'll be more turned on and it'll be a better experience for him when I'm blonde instead of me being brunette. Or when he says, oh, I really love girls with ginormous yitties. I'm just such a yitty man that, ginormous yitties is what really gets my head turning. I'm not really a bum guy. I like huge yitties. And you're thinking to yourself, damn, I might have to go get a boob job, or damn, I might have to do something, maybe wear bigger bras, maybe stuff my bras so that I can have ginormous yitties exactly like how he wants ginormous yitties, right? And see, here's the really weird part. When you come into a relationship or a situation or a talking stage and you're fixated on how do I be more of what you want and less of myself, you have an adjustment addiction, okay? Now, I'm not talking about the type of adjustment where if someone has an issue with you, you guys find a compromise and you figure out how to adjust your behavior and they figure out how to adjust their behavior in a way that works best for both of you in the relationship. No, the adjustment I'm referring to is the addiction to trying to make physical adjustments to who you already are, as you already exist, so that you can be more of what that man wants you to be. Now, the reason I describe this as a nice girl habit is because this is the mindset you're going to bring into any relationship or talking stage that you have when you have a nice girl mindset, right? I want to be what you want mindset. I want to say yes to everything mindset. I really, really want you to like me mindset. That's the same thing as a nice girl mindset. So you're going to be thinking about how you can make adjustments within yourself, physically and emotionally. Basically change who you already are to be more of who he usually likes so that he can like you like he likes those other girls, okay? It's the same concept when you notice that the guy that you're talking to is constantly liking bikini pictures of girls who are maybe brunettes, and maybe you're a blonde girl. And now you're thinking to yourself, well, do you like brunettes now? Just explain to me, do you like brunettes? Would you rather me change my hair to brunette? And you start thinking about how to adjust or change yourself, even though you had no intention of dyeing your hair, even though you had no intention of changing your hairstyle or changing how you look, or getting a boob job or anything like that. You're constantly thinking about how you can make an adjustment to be more of what he likes. And this is part of the problem. And this is why I say it's a nice girl habit that you need to get rid of. You need to get rid of it. Because guys notice when you're in the mindset that everything that you do is to try to get him to like you more. Guys aren't dumb. They're a little bit emotionally stunted. They're not idiots though. And they can notice those subtle nuances in your behavior and in your approach to the relationship and the talking stage. He can notice that every time he says, yeah, I like this when it comes to my woman instead of this. I like when a woman does that. I like when a woman does that. And I like when a woman does that. So you're scrambling thinking, oh, you like when a woman does that instead? Let me make sure how I can change everything about myself, that I'm not who I once was and I'm more of who you want me to be, because that's what you want and I'm only here to make you happy. Now, I'm not saying that to say that you should never want to make your man happy. Of course, there's a balance there, but I'm saying that so you can start getting a better understanding of how that actually hurts you. Because the moment you start scrambling and saying, please, master, tell me exactly what you want. Do you want me to scrub this floor squeaky clean until you can see your reflection in it? If that's the case, just let me know and tell me exactly how long I should scrub the floor for, exactly how many times I should go around in circles, exactly what sponge to use, and tell me exactly when you're finally happy with my floor job. He's going to say to himself, I mean, great that you'll literally scrub the floor for me. Great that you have an addiction to making any sort of adjustment that I want you to make. But what he's not going to be doing simultaneously to being able to acknowledge that is respecting you. And remember, okay, this is the really important part. I want you to be paying attention. Okay. If you just, are still mesmerized that I'm back now, I want you really soaking this in now. You need to understand that a man's real life desire for you, I'm not talking about fake desire, like fake desire where he just wants to jackrabbit himself inside of you and, pretend to get to know you and pretend to build a relationship with you while he gets on his quest to doing that. I'm talking about a real desire to make you his wife, to make you his long-term girlfriend, and to build a long-lasting relationship with you, okay? If he actually has that desire, or he's actually building that desire, you need to understand that his desire to build with you and his respect for you will always be one in the same. I need to emphasize this so much because when you're a nice girl, you will not be gaining respect. I know it sounds counterintuitive, but men cannot respect you when you have a lot of nice girl habits going on. Because nice girl habits consist of a nice girl mindset, and a nice girl mindset is always focused on how can I change or adjust myself so that I am more of what you want. And the moment you are thinking about how to change or adjust yourself so that you can be more of what someone else wants, you will not be thinking of what are you bringing to this relationship and to this table. Are you the person that I'm looking for? Have you shown me that you're someone who I should be investing my time and energy into? And I want you to never forget, please never forget this, please never forget this, please never forget this. I want you to never forget that a function of the men approaching you, I'm hoping the men are approaching you and you're not approaching the men. A function of that is that they want something from you. If he wants something from you, i.e. what's in between your legs, your squirtle, or just more access to you because he likes you, he wants to get to know you, you are in a position of power, meaning you are the one that determines if you allow him to jackrabbit himself inside of you. It is not your job to make adjustments to be more of what he wants, he's the one that wants something from you. And he's the one that's going to be approaching you. So you keep your position of power, you keep your leverage, and until you decide that this is the guy who I'm looking for, you do not give him anything in return, especially nothing that's in between your legs. You don't unzip your pants for him, you don't take off your shirt for him, you don't use your hands, mouth, or feet for some of you weirdos. Okay? And I'm super serious about this. Do not approach your relationships with an adjustment addiction, where you're constantly thinking about what you need to adjust about yourself in order to fit that man's criteria. I can assure you, a man who really likes you and really wants to build with you will not be fazed by little nuances in your character that make you different. In fact, a man who really wants to build with you and really likes you will actually appreciate the character traits about you that make you uniquely you. He won't be actively thinking about how he can turn you into his ex. I want to let you in on a secret, okay? Because me and you are friends. If a man is trying to turn you into his ex, or trying to convince you that being more like his ex would be, a better use of your time, and you'd have a better relationship if you were more like his ex, I need you to quickly and efficiently run as fast as you can away from that man and that relationship. Because that ain't going nowhere good. You should not be trying to turn into his ex. That's his ex for a reason. Listen, I know that when we're talking about it, your lights are flashing and you're like, oh my God, Tomisin, I know it makes so much sense now. Why was I so stupid? I get it. But this is the thing. It's harder to realize that when you're in it. And natural, when you're a nice girl and you have a lot of nice girl habits, you turn into a pick-me-sha, as we also call it on the show, and you only are thinking about, okay, what change do I need to make now? What change is necessary today? What do I need to adjust about my life, or the way I talk, or the way I sit down, or the way I eat food, so that he'll like me more? And it's a vicious mindset, and guys get to the realization that, oh, she's going to change anything about herself that I want her to change. She's not going to be an individual because she has no individualism. She's only exactly what I want her to be, exactly how I want her to be it. So if I tell her, this is the thing, I'm going to start glitching. This is the thing. When the men make the realization, not only will you try your best to make any physical adjustment that he wants you to make and change yourself 180, and they'll also realize that you're willing to make any emotional or personality adjustment that they want you to make. And you know what? One of the first things the men will do, adjustments they'll try to get you to make when they realize that you have an adjustment addiction, they'll say things like, gee, you know what? It would be so much nicer if I could be in the type of relationship where the girl I'm with texts me all the time. It'd be so nice, G, if I could be in the type of relationship where the girl I'm with, takes me out for dinner. Gee, it would be so nice if I was in the type of relationship where the girl I'm with calls me every night to show me how much she loves me and show me how much she appreciates me. And you know what happens when you have an adjustment addiction? You say to yourself, oh my gosh, he wants me to reach out more. He wants me to text him more. He wants me to pick him up and go out on dates. He wants me to do all the planning of all the dates. He wants me to do all that work so that I can show him how serious I am about this relationship and how serious I am about him. And that's what's going to show him that he should like me as well, and he should want this relationship with me as well. And so you know what you do. When you got an adjustment addiction and he recommends that to you, you begin chasing him, thinking that you're doing something positive by chasing him, right? Because he's tricked you. It's a trick. He's tricked you into thinking that the girl he's going to fall in love with is the type of girl that will essentially chase after him. And the fact that that new type of girl that he's never been able to meet that chases after him is so different because she shows her affection and her appreciation, that's what's going to make him fall in love with that girl. And when you hear that, your spidey senses start tingling, your entire body starts tingling, your squirrel starts getting so lubricated, and you say to yourself, wow, you want me to chase you? That's how you're going to fall in love with the woman? I can show you just how much I'll chase. I'll do everything you can possibly ask for. I'll plan all our dates for the next 3 years. I'll text you every single day. I'll drop whatever I have going on in my life to be around you and be with you. And I'll show you how much I want this relationship and how badly I want it. And the moment you do that, he says, absolutely perfect. He sits back, relaxes, and allows you to feed him grapes on an island, because you are so obsessed with making any adjustment that he mentions to you or would like you to make that you don't even realize that the adjustment he's asking you to make is not so that he can fall in love with you more or be more into you or love this relationship anymore or so you can prove to him anything. It's so that you end up doing all the work that he can sit back and do nothing, and you don't even realize it because you're so focused on doing all the work. The easiest way for me, the man, to get you distracted from evaluating my actions and analyzing how I treat you, and if this is the relationship that you want, is to get you fixated on making adjustments for yourself so that you're what I want. If you're focused on being what I want, you can't be focused on if I'm showing you what you want. Does that make sense to you guys so far? Right? I know we're moving fast here, but, I didn't talk to you guys yesterday, so I got to I got to hammer it home today. Very important. One of the worst habits to, and hardest habits to break is that adjustment addiction, because especially when you are in the mindset where you're looking for a relationship and you're looking for something to work out, or even worse, you meet a guy and you start to feel like, oh, you're my perfect guy, or you meet a guy and before you actually get to know him, you allow all this hype to build up in your mind about the possibilities of what things could be, even though you don't actually know that those things are really that, and you actually haven't spent enough time with him to realize who he truly is. The problem is when you're of the mindset that, oh, you're the perfect guy, you're absolutely who I'm looking for, I don't need to do any more evaluating to know if you're the person who I'm looking for, because I'm sure of it, even though it's only been a couple of days. At the moment you start thinking that way, you start thinking to yourself, oh, if you're not showing me interest, if you don't want to be with me, if you don't seem to be wanting this relationship as badly as before, now I have to figure out what I must do or adjust because I have to make this work. You do not need to be going into your relationships with a scarcity mindset that the man you're meeting right now, just because you had one good date with him and one good chat with him, that this is the man that you need to end up with and that your life is over if you don't end up with that man. The moment you start thinking like that, you will have an adjustment addiction, thinking about how you can change or adjust yourself so that this relationship works out, because it has to work out. Now, what has to work out for you is the relationship that fits the criteria of what you're looking for. That's it. Whichever guy comes along in your life that shows you those things, that will be the guy that gets access to you. Not any man that asks you out on a date, and not any man that you sit in front, on a dinner date and slurp pasta with, okay? I need you to understand you're only going to end up with one man. You're not going to end up with 10,000 men, meaning you're going to go on a lot of dates, just percentage-wise, statistics-wise. I don't want to throw a bunch of math at you, but statistic-wise, that means that majority of the men you go on dates with will not be the guy you're looking for, okay? Because you're only going to end up with one. That's fine, though, but I want you to be patient in analyzing that and absorbing and taking in more and more information to decide if that is the guy you're looking for or not. Okay, and build your skill set up in that. All right. So number one is the adjustment addiction. Number two, I want to call it being a sacrifice Sally. Okay. I'll say it again. Number two is being a sacrifice Sally. Now, when I say being a sacrifice Sally, I want you to imagine this. Okay. Imagine it's the guy you're talking to. He's at the club, he's at this club, partying it up, getting twerked on, doing his thing with his boys. He's out with his boys. They've got some dance hall playing. You guys know dance hall. You should know dance hall. Work, 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 work. work. You see me after you work. He's grinding up his waistline in the club, drinking some 1942. His boys got Casamigos and the with this other boy right over there. He didn't pay for none of it. Obviously, he didn't pay for it. He's not paying for none of that. He's just in the booth. You know, he's taking snaps and all that good stuff. You watching his snaps because you're at home. You're sad. You're missing him. You want him to spend this time with you. And you know what he does after he spends all this time in the club, dancing up a storm, moving his waistline on some other girls? He calls you up. Shawty, what's good with you? Yo, I'm just I'm leaving the spot. Yeah, I'm downtown, yo. So just I was just thinking of you, babe. So just let me know I'm thinking of you. So I'm trying to see what's up with you. I know we ain't spoken in like, what's it been, like 4 weeks, something like that. But I want to come over to your house. I want to see you. Let me see you right now, yo. What you doing? Like, you in bed? Yo, get out of bed, yo. I won't be at your place in like 15, yo. Like 15, yo. I'm gonna see you then. Now stop playing with me. I'm gonna be at your place. Like, stop playing around, yo. You know you want me to pull up on you. Okay, swear you don't want me to pull up on. I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna be there in 10. Okay, I'm gonna be there right now. All right. And the thing about it is that when he wants to see you, despite him not keeping contact with you, despite him not being consistent with you, despite him not showing effort with you, the fact that he calls you up, and that's what guys are going to do. They're going to pour it on. Oh my God, I haven't seen you in so long. I've been missing you. Where you been? You got big on me. You went celebrity status on me. You think you better than me now. You don't want to talk to me no more. And he's gonna dump all this stuff on you to make it seem as if it's pressing for him to see you right now in the second. Quite convenient for him, right? And in the process of him pressing on you that he really needs to see you right now at this moment at 3 a.m. after he left the club, you're going to say to yourself, well, you know, I did have a bunch of stuff to do in the morning, and I am supposed to wake up at 6 or 7 a.m. tomorrow because I got a shift. And then after my shift, I got a whole bunch of stuff I got to get done. You know what? I'm going to call in sick, right? Or I'm just not going to go. Or I forget what I had to do in all my commitments tomorrow. You can come over right now. I'll sacrifice my sleep. So even if I go to my work tomorrow, or even if I go to my shift tomorrow, I'll see you right now just for a little bit. You come over, give me that love, give me that affection, give me that validation and attention that I want. And I'll drop everything for you, even my sleep. I'll be with you until you don't want to be with me anymore, basically until you bust a nut. And then when you leave, I'll go to work tomorrow exhausted, or I'll call in sick tomorrow to work, or I'll sacrifice whatever plan or commitment I had early in the morning so that I can spend this time with you. And throughout the entire of the I shouldn't even call it a relationship, situationship, you spend so much of your time dropping everything for him whenever he shows you any little bit of attention or showing you any little bit of validation or that he wants to be with you right now. Okay? You're a sacrifice, Sally. And see, here's the thing. I know in your mind you're thinking to yourself, I like you so much, and I want you to like me. So maybe you'll like me if I'm available to you and I move my schedule around for whenever it is that you're free, because it will make it easier for you to hang out with me. Let me give you a very painful newsflash. Making it easier for men to hang out with you and spend time with you will never make you more attractive to them. In fact, it makes you a lot less attractive to them. Why? Because they recognize that I don't show any commitment or consistency to you. In fact, I show a whole bunch of inconsistency with you and in our relationship. And the only time I hit you up is when it's convenient for me. And despite the fact that I only hit you up when it's convenient for me, you still drop everything for me. I'm telling you this, not just because I've thought it before in my mind and done it before in my mind, but literally my own guy friends will tell me and in front of me, call these girls up after they finish at the club that they know will drop anything for them whenever they call or whenever they text. It's like I'm saying this not so that it will shock you, so that you can understand that the guys know this. They're not stupid. They know this. And when you categorize yourself as the person, the woman that will drop everything and sacrifice everything whenever he wants you or needs you or basically wants to be inside you and jackrabbit himself inside of you, they recognize that, they categorize you as such, and they never give you anything at all ever again unless it is convenient for them in that moment. See, this is the thing. This is why I say this is one of those nice girl habits that you must break, because you'll never have men respecting you. And remember what I said at the very beginning, you want to put yourself in a position where you're someone that demands respect. Men aren't just going to come across into your life and respect you for no reason. They're going to test you to see if you're one of those women who are going, as we say, going, or if you're one of those women who don't go for the BS. Okay? Men like to come along and test you to see which one you are. It doesn't take that much to realize you're one of the ones that are going or one of the ones that ain't with the BS. When they realize you're one of the ones that ain't with the BS, they stop messing around a lot of times and they make an adjustment in their behavior. And they wouldn't dare say or do certain things with you. When they perceive you as someone who is going or someone who is with the BS, they will treat you as such, and even worse than that, they will actively give you even less, knowing that they don't have to invest anything in you in order to extract from you. I know it sounds horrible, but it is the truth. And I know you don't want to be perceived as someone who is with the BS. Someone said, what is BS? You should know what BS is, okay? I can't say it on TikTok, all right? But my whole point is, you don't want to turn into a sacrifice Sally. You don't want to turn into, do not ever, ever, ever after this show, make the mistake of thinking to yourself that the best way to get a guy attracted to you or the best way to get a guy interested in you is to make yourself available to him whenever he needs you, or, whenever it's convenient for him. That, oh, he's free on Friday, so if you can rearrange your schedule and be free on Friday, then that will be most ideal to him and he'll like you because he gets to spend more time with you. No. Stop it. Bad girl. Stop it. You stay put and you are available when it works for you, not when it works for him. And in fact, even if you are available when he calls you up last minute, I purposely want you, especially at the very beginning, I purposely want you to deny those times, even if you're available and even if it does actually work for you, because I don't want you to allow him to perceive it as when he needs you, he can get access to you. No. When you have time to spend with him and it's appropriate and he schedules it and he plans it out, then he gets access to you. Not by calling you up at 3 a.m. and saying, hey, shawty, I'm trying to pull up on you right now. What you saying? No. Okay. I know it's tempting for you. And I know when he finally gives you attention, it takes you over the moon. But I want you to understand that's not the type of attention you want. And you're not going to gain any sort of respect from those men when you allow them to treat you like that. Notice I said when you allow them to treat you like that. I know we all want to live in a perfect world where all the men in our lives treat us absolutely amazing and treat us all like princesses. I would love that for you too, but the reality of it is that is not the world that we live in, okay? The men will treat you like a princess when they realize they won't get access to you by treating you any other way. And when they realize that they don't have to treat you like a princess in order to get access to you, well, then they proceed to not treat you like a princess and continue to get access to you. Okay. So the choice, as horrible as it sounds, on how you get treated is actually yours. It's actually yours. You can decide which men have access to you and how they must treat you in order to receive and gain that access to you. It's your choice. Not mine, not any other man in your life. It's your choice. And the sooner you take control of that choice, the better off your relationships will be, because you won't have to worry yourself about how are you treating me. You'll just say to yourself, if you're not prepared to treat me how I expect you to treat me, you're done. You're done. It's very simple, and you won't get another opportunity. And the only men that are in your life are the men that are going to be treating you accordingly. And then your life becomes very simple that way, instead of complicated chasing all of these men around. Okay, right? Jazz says, so I was like, I'm not in the mood to see these things or deal with him. You shouldn't be. I mean, if you're talking about him calling you up, last minute and things like that, you shouldn't be, right? You should turn that down. You shouldn't even be responding to that. You shouldn't even have an option to do those things. Okay. Miffy says, how do you rectify this after you're already in a relationship with them? You're gonna have to make a complete 180. And I'm gonna be honest with you. You probably want to watch my show, How to Get Your Power Back. But in the process of that, you're probably gonna realize that some of you have been building relationships with men where the only reason there is a relationship is because you're doing all the work. And for some of you, when you do a complete 180 and you watch my whole live stream on how to get your power back and you implement some of those things, you're gonna realize that after you implement those things, the guy that you're with is saying to himself, actually, I wasn't here to do a lot for you. I wasn't here to pursue you or chase after you or give you princess treatment. I was only here in this relationship because you were doing everything for me. Now that you've been listening to Tomisin, you've been joining the Players Club, and you realize how you've been doing wrong, and you're making a change now. I ain't here for that, because that's going to make me have to chase and pursue you. This is not the relationship for me. I want to be the princess here. We can both be a princess. It's either you or me, and it's got to be me. Right. And so some of you, when you try to make this flip, even if you're in a relationship, I hate to say it to you, some of you are going to come to the realization that there is no relationship if you're not doing all the work. It sucks, but when you learn it and you go through it, you'll realize, okay, now I know how to structure my relationships for the future. It's a painful realization, but when you realize it and you realize what mistakes you made, you'll realize how to make those adjustments. Okay. User Leanne says, is this pre-recorded? This is 100% not pre-recorded. I can 100% see your message and 100% respond to your message as soon as you send it. Okay. Does that make sense to you guys? So far, okay? Cashley says we're about revealing intentions and levels of interest around here, 100%. When you join the Players Club, you'll realize that overall the best thing for you to be doing is to be shutting your mouth, not because you don't have anything important to say, but because the best way for you to determine if someone is who you're looking for is by gathering information, by allowing them to talk. Not doing all the yapping and the discussing and the talking, thinking you're getting somewhere, because you're not actually learning about people when you're doing all the yapping and discussing. When you're doing all the listening and gathering of information and asking good questions, that's when all of the amazing parts of relationships and all of the answers will come to you. And you won't be confused about people, and specifically not men, okay? Tiffany says dating is collecting data, 100%. We're going to have a show later this week where we talk about exactly what not to do on a first date. And a lot of it is focused on the mistakes you'll make when you're going on this date, thinking about how you can enjoy yourself instead of thinking about how you can extract information. Because the reality of it is you'll enjoy yourself the most in a relationship when you're trusting someone with your deepest, darkest secrets and your soul and your intimacy, someone that actually deserves that, right? Not someone who is just going to take that and utilize it to their advantage type of thing. That's when you'll actually enjoy yourself in the long run. Okay, so number one was the adjustment addiction. Number two was being a sacrifice Sally. Now, number three is what we call, okay, this is stop pooping time. Ivy and Cashley's favorite time. I want you guys all paying attention. If you're on the toilet pooping, you snip off your poop, you suck the rest back in, you pay attention to me. If you're in bed, you sit up straight, get your hand out of your pants, right? I want you listening, looking in my eyes. Now, the reason that this part is so important, number three is called being Mrs. It's not that deep. I hate this. This really bothers me, which is why we're going to have a real discussion about this. You need to stop being an it's not that deep type of person. When someone comes along in your life and in the process of building this relationship with you, they're obviously going to make some mistakes. They're going to do things that you don't like. Some of them might cross boundaries small. Some of them might cross boundaries which are major. I want you to rid yourself of this mindset that you hear people say on TikTok, that you hear people say on Instagram, that you hear your friends talk about like it's a catchphrase. It's not a catchphrase. Stop saying to yourself and even out loud that it's not that deep. When someone crosses your boundaries, it is always that deep. If someone in your life, let's just say, for example, you don't like if a guy in your life is going to be cursing you out and calling you outside of your name when you guys are in an argument. If you guys get in an argument and he's really upset about something you did and he starts cursing you out and calling you outside of your name, you're done. You're done. We're not even going to have any more of a discussion. I already made it clear to you what the boundary is. If you cross that boundary, you're done. You're done. So until you realize how to make this adjustment, or you realize how serious it is when you cross my boundaries and how little patience I have for someone who's going to cross my boundaries, especially after it's been stated, if you're not going to be able to realize that or not be able to make adjustments because when you get mad, you just get so mad that you can't think straight, cool, then you're not the person I'm looking for. Perfectly fine with me. I'll find someone who can control their anger and doesn't have to call me outside of my name when we're in an argument. You need to understand that men, right, in your life that want to take advantage of you, not every man, but the men that come in your life that want to take advantage of you are going to try to convince you that everything is not that deep. Because when that mindset fills your brain cells and you start soaking in that day in and day out, that it's not that deep. It's not that deep. Don't worry about it. Who cares? Don't be a complainer. Don't be a party pooper. You don't have to address everything. You don't got to be mad about everything. You start to convince yourself. You literally, this is crazy. You start to gaslight yourself, your own self, that your problems and your boundaries are not real problems and not real boundaries. Because then you'll say to yourself, if I complain, it's supposed to be, it's not that deep. I'm supposed to be mad chill. I'm supposed to be a cool girl, right? I'm supposed to be the fun girl. The fun girl's not going to address stuff. The fun girl's not going to get mad. The fun girl's not going to ask for an apology or demand an apology or expect an apology. The fun girl's not going to withdraw when her boundaries get crossed. The fun girl's not going to punish someone for doing something wrong to them. I should just say nothing. I should just hold it in. I should just be quiet. I should just realize that it's not that deep and I shouldn't worry about it too much. And as you begin that process of continuing to believe in that, and that becomes your whole character, it's not that deep. Your missus, it's not that deep, right? Two things will happen. The first thing that will happen is you're going to have a buildup and a buildup and a buildup of all of this emotional weight, and eventually you're going to explode. Okay, that's just how it's going to be. And the second thing is he's going to realize that when he does cross your boundaries or he does do something wrong to you, because guys aren't dumb. They know when they cross boundaries, especially major ones that you've discussed before. And they also know if you're not making them face consequences that are equal to the boundary that they've crossed. So for example, if you tell, in the example that I gave where a guy cusses you out and calls you outside of your name, calls you out all type of crazy names while you guys are in an argument or in a fight, yelling at you, screaming at you, and all that stuff. If in the process of that, after that, you just say it's not that deep, and then you return to things like everything's fine because you want to forgive him and you don't want to draw things out, what that's going to show him is, oh, okay. So that means when I do cross the boundary that has been established as a boundary, she would rather be comfortable in our relationship and not address it so that we don't have to be at odds, then address it and have an uncomfortable conversation at the risk of maybe me saying as the man that I don't like that you're addressing this, or why are you complaining, or why are you saying this, or why are you saying that type of thing. And this is why I call it a nice girl habit, because when you want to be a nice girl, you don't want to have uncomfortable conversations, especially when the uncomfortable conversation consists of something that has been done to you that you feel wronged about, that you feel someone has crossed the boundary of yours. And an uncomfortable conversation would consist of you sitting them down, addressing what they did to you, why you don't appreciate it, and why you won't tolerate it. That's an uncomfortable conversation. But when you have the nice girl habits flowing through you, you do not want to address situations or have uncomfortable conversations. You only want to be as nice and as quiet and as carefree and as the word I'm looking for conflictable, just non-confrontational. I'm sorry, unconflictable, non-confrontational as possible. I had a brain fart there. Okay, you want to be as non-confrontational as possible because you're thinking like a nice girl. Rhonda said accommodating. That's another good word for that. Nicole asked in the YouTube chat. She sends in a $10 donation. Thank you so much, Nicole. Nicole says, "Thank you for this, Tomisin. I was definitely Mrs. It's not that deep. Shake my head. I thought I had control. Wrong. 100-degree change is now in progress." That's good, Nicole. And for the rest of you that are realizing that you become, and it's not that, because see, the thing is, hey, I'm telling you, society will have you messed up, man. And I'm telling you, too much Instagram, too much, I know we're watching this on TikTok, too much TikTok, right? Of hearing people say things will have you believing that your problems are not real problems. See? And I'm saying this because I used to be obsessed with that mindset too. I thought the coolest version of me was someone who takes everything as it's not that deep. You know, being an it's not that deep type of guy, type of person makes me so cool, makes me so easy to get along with, makes me so evolved and mature to realize that nothing is that deep. So even when someone crosses my boundary, who cares? It's not that deep. Why address it? There's so much bigger fish to fry. And I actually thought that I was being a cooler, a better version of myself. Debly says nonchalant, right? Nonchalant version of myself, very, very, very demure, very cutesy, very mindful, right? Version of myself by being, and it's not that deep type of person. In reality, I was only hurting myself and my relationships and my ability to cultivate good, healthy relationships by not knowing how to set boundaries and address people directly when I have a problem or issue with them. Okay, right? Not very demure, not very mindful, not very cutesy. None of those things. All right? And I want you to understand, being a Mrs. It's not that deep type of girl will only end you in the pits of despair, wondering why all the guys in your life mistreat you, don't appreciate you, and barely even like you or pay attention to you. Because remember what I said at the very beginning, a man's desire for you is also tied to his respect of you. Right? And if you don't have his respect, or you're not showing him that you demand respect, he's not going to respect you. And subsequently, he's also not going to desire you. When have you ever heard a guy say out loud, "Hey, I want to make the mother of my children. I want to put a ring on the woman who has no boundaries and no standards. I want to put a ring on the woman who will say yes to me and anyone else. I want to put a ring on the woman who literally lets people walk all over her to the point where she's literally a doormat for everyone." Because you can't just be a doormat for your husband. If you're a doormat for everyone. No man has ever said to himself, "I want to put a ring on the girl who's a doormat for everyone, that everyone gets to walk all over, that everyone gets to use and discard of. I want to make the mother of my children the person that everyone treats like trash." Nobody says that. No man says that. At least I'll let you in on that secret. So if guys are trying to convince you of that, or trying to convince you that the best way to get him to like you is to treat yourself with no respect and have no self-respect and cast everything aside as it's not that deep, they're actually lying to you. And the reason they want to, the thing is, I don't have any reason to lie to you. So the reason those guys want to convince you of that is because if you are someone that is always like, "Oh, it's not that deep, who cares, it's not that big a deal, I'll let things slide," who does that benefit? That benefits the guy that you're talking to, because you won't address things. He won't have to apologize for anything, and he'll get to cross any boundary he wants, however he wants to cross it, without ever being addressed or without ever being told no. So that benefits him by convincing you that you should go about your life as if nothing is that deep or nothing is that important. Okay? Right? And you'll realize this even in your friendships as well. This isn't even just a relationship thing, right? People in general and friends in general who are trying to take advantage of you will always try to throw on you, "It's not that deep," whenever you try to address something towards them. Okay. Misha says, is this pre-recorded? Absolutely not. Okay. I am here live and direct for all of you, answering your questions as well. I see them all. Okay. So Lida says, but I feel like not addressing things keeps things alive. Absolutely not. Lida and anyone else who believes that it does not keep any relationship alive by not addressing things or ignoring addressing things. You think it keeps it alive because when you don't address things, it allows things to go on for even longer. But I can assure you the problems that exist in your situation or relationship at the very beginning will exist in the middle, and they will exist at the end. They never go away. Never. In fact, they only get worse as time goes on. Because when people come to the realization that they can treat you a certain way without any consequences, it continues to go on and it continues to escalate in intensity until there's a breaking point. That's the truth of the matter. So when you ignore things or you don't address them, thinking that you're keeping things going by not addressing them, what you're actually doing is just allowing things to go on for a longer period of time while the intensity of the slip up or the thing that needs to be addressed grows. Because it's going to grow day by day by day. And eventually there's going to be a breaking point. Either you're going to break or the relationship's just going to break overall. Or you're going to be so discombobulated about how far gone this relationship is that you're going to be wondering, where did I go wrong? And you're going to feel like you can't leave the relationship because at that point you will have invested so many years, or for some of you, decades of your life into that relationship before realizing that I can no longer function in a relationship like this. I know that this is really scary for a lot of you, but the moment you start dating someone from that very first date, you have to realize that you're setting the foundation for everything else. So in the odd chance that you end up dating someone or you start going out on dates with someone that ends up being a partner of yours for years to come, you have to realize that like everything you do, every decision you make, everything that you let slide, that is setting the precedent for the rest of the relationship. So if you make the mistake of the guy that you actually want to build with doing a lot of stuff that you really don't want to set a foundation on for the rest of the relationship, you're going to be very frustrated down the road 2-3 years with that guy when you realize, oh my God, all this stuff that I'm trying to now go backwards on, trying to readjust, trying to undo, I should have been super focused on doing that stuff at the beginning. And see, that's kind of where I always mention to you guys, you also have to be intentional about dating and your relationships in a different way than the guys. Because the guys are going to be intentional in terms of how they pursue you and being consistent with you and taking you out and all that good stuff. But you have to be intentional in the way that you date by understanding that the way that you present yourself and the things that you allow of him and in the relationship are going to set the groundwork for the rest of the relationship. So if you establish a relationship in which you're going to be doing all the chasing, you're going to be doing all the calling, you're going to be doing all the reaching out, you're going to be doing all the asking him out on dates, then eventually your relationship will only consist of that. And you'll be frustrated because you'll be like, Tomisin, how do I undo what's been in my relationship for the past 2 years? When my answer to you, truthfully, is you should have been thinking about those things at the beginning instead of just thinking to yourself, I just want to be here to have fun and have a good time and have him compliment me and tell me how big my dump truck is so I can feel good about myself. Okay, that's not actually going to benefit you in the long term of the relationship. It's just going to give you something to rub one out to later on. And you don't need something to rub one out to. Just go read a Wattpad story and grab you that Tracy's dog. Okay? And I really mean that. So number one was an adjustment addiction. Does that make sense to you guys so far? Adjustment addiction, number one, right? Being a sacrifice Sally, number two. Mrs. It's not that deep, number three. And number four. Okay, number four. Number four, we have one of the nice girl habits. We have doing both jobs. Now, I want us to be very clear here. When I'm talking about doing both jobs, what I'm referring to is the mistake you make as a nice girl, where you justify the fact that the guy is not doing what he's supposed to be doing in a relationship. And because you have nice girl habits flowing through you, you start thinking to yourself, well, maybe he's not doing his job in the relationship because he's got things going on. I'll give you an example of that, okay? Let's say you meet a guy and in the process of meeting a guy, you're supposed to go out, you go out on a first date. And after you go out on this first date, things go good, at least from your perspective. The relationship, the date went good. You slurped up some spaghetti, you ate some fettuccine alfredo, and things were nice from your own perspective. Let's say after that date, a week goes by and you kind of are texting, every couple of days. He doesn't really reach out to you as much as he did before that first date. And then let's say it's 2 weeks now. And in the process of this 2 weeks, you're like, what's going on? It's been like 3 days in between him texting me. He doesn't seem to want to reach out to me. He doesn't seem to be doing anything. And then you start because you get anxious, right? And you're a nice girl. So you think to yourself, hey, maybe it's my job to reach out to you and ask you, is everything okay? Are you doing okay? Do you have something going on? Is that why you haven't texted me or asked me out on a date? So you actually do that. You take out your phone. You take out your phone and you actually text him, hey, Jimmy, I was just wondering, is everything okay? You haven't been texting me as much as you usually do. I'm wondering what's going on. And you make the mistake of actually messaging him that. And he says to you these magic words. Oh, you know what? I'll be honest with you. I've just been so busy. I have work. I have family. I have friends. I have this going on and that going on, and all of the things going on just create this really busy, jumbled up mess that's really hard to manage and is really complicated. And you know what? In the process of me being busy, I've literally been working 24-hour shifts. And in the process of me working 24-hour shifts, my phone has been dead for the past 2 weeks. And in the process of my phone dying for the past 2 weeks, I haven't had access to my email or any sort of electronic communication because I've been out in the desert stranded for the past 2 weeks. And that's why I've been unable to send you messages or text you as much as I did before. And so after he says that to you, you go, oh, I'm so sorry that you've been so busy and so sorry that you've been so stressed out. That's so unfortunate. Do you think maybe on Friday, why don't we go out and maybe we can just go out for ice cream? Or you know what? Like if you're free this week, I'll come over. I'll pay for my own Uber to come over to your place. I'll order Uber Eats from my own account. I'll log into my Netflix on your TV. We can watch Netflix on my account while we eat the food that I ordered after I come over to your place with the Uber that I paid for. And, maybe we can just relax so that you can be less stressed out. Do you think that sounds like a good, nice, relaxing time for you? And he says, maybe let me think about it for a little bit. You know what? If you do want to come over and you do want to buy me some dinner, I would prefer, the really nice pizza. I know the pizza is probably it's like $50 a pizza. It's a truffle pizza, but I'd prefer if we could order that while we watch Netflix. Yeah, that would be a relaxing time for me. And so after you plan the date, you go over to his house, you allow him to eat the food that you ordered and you watch the Netflix on your account, and you go home and pay for your own Uber back home. And see, the process of having one of these nice girl habits, which is doing both jobs, you start to think to yourself that, it is my job to be the man, be the one that's intentional, be the one that's taking you out, be the one that's managing this relationship, being the one that's checking in on you, making sure you're okay. And when you tell me that you haven't been consistent with me because you've been so busy for the past 2 weeks, now it's my job to step in and make it easier for you to spend time with me by me organizing my schedule around when you're free and making it as convenient as I possibly can for you to be able to spend time with me. It's different than being just available. It's actually taking the extra mile right? In order to make the process of spending time with you easier. So not only are you making yourself more available, but you're actively making sure that you can accommodate to his schedule and accommodate to his needs and make sure that he's taken care of, and essentially giving him princess treatment, thinking that you're doing something because he's stressed out or because he's busy. No, what he actually is not interested in you. That's what's actually happening. But because you have this nice girl syndrome flowing through you, and you're thinking to yourself, maybe it's my job to do both jobs. It's not, and it has never been. You begin doing both jobs, and so you're the man and the woman. And so you essentially end up taking yourself out. He's just there. You essentially end up giving yourself princess treatment, but he's just there. You essentially end up going out for a dinner date. He's just there. Right? And you're not a girlfriend to no one. You're your own girlfriend and your own boyfriend. He's just there. And for some of you, you actually end up building your relationship off of him just being there. And you're doing both jobs. You're managing your emotions and his emotions. You're busy while you're also managing when he's busy and he's not busy. You're planning the dates, scheduling the dates, taking him out on the dates while he actively does nothing, just shows up whenever it's convenient for him. The only reason you're talking on the phone or texting or keeping any sort of communication is because you reach out every time to keep that communication while he does nothing. I need you to understand. I know that once again, when you're in that mode, you're thinking, oh, he's going to like me more because I'm showing him how much effort I put forward into this relationship. No, what actually ends up happening, he ends up resenting you more and disliking you more because you're not giving him the space to be a man. And you're also too swept up in trying to make this work to realize that he doesn't even have real interest in you. And as weird as it sounds, guys will not only dislike you, but resent you because you're too dumb to realize they're not actually interested in you. I'm not saying this to hurt your feelings or to say that you're a bad person, but it's the honest truth. Because they say to themselves, do you not realize I'm doing nothing for you? I'm doing, and sometimes they almost do it purposely as a cry out to you like, do you not have any respect for yourself? They almost question, how can you be so foolish as to not have any respect for yourself, that I'm literally doing less than nothing. In fact, I'm treating you the worst way, and you're still here doing the absolute most for me. They're wondering, how can you not gain a backbone and just an ounce of self-respect? And it's like they're with you while actively resenting you and actively treating you worse because they're like, damn, you don't have, you can't get up and make something of yourself or find someone better than me. And the reason I know that is because even guys in the Discord, and it's so sad. Guys in the Discord, and you guys have shown me this, and this is where it gets crazy. Some of you have shown me examples of messages in the Discord where men will message you and tell you all the reasons you should want to move on from him. Tell me if that's ever happened to you, where you've been with a guy, and when you ask him, well, what are things or why this isn't working out, he'll actively tell you all the reasons you shouldn't want to be with him and all the reasons he can't be what you need and all the reasons you shouldn't want him. And you're wondering to yourself, why are you telling me this? Do you not want me to want you? He actually doesn't think you should be staying here with him in this relationship with him because he knows he's giving you nothing. And he actually feels sorry for you that you're still here while he gives you nothing. So he's trying to make it clear to you all the ways he's giving you nothing so that you can gain a backbone and actually walk out the door. It's insane, but it actually does happen. And it actually really does. And this is real life. And I want you to recognize that so that you can start saying to yourself, I'm doing both jobs. I'm the girlfriend and the boyfriend. Why am I still here? It makes no sense. It doesn't serve me. It doesn't benefit me. I'm not getting anything out of it. And in fact, I'm getting emotionally and physically and spiritually drained. Why am I here? Some of you haven't asked that question to yourself, and you need to ask yourself that question. Why am I here? How does this serve me? Is this mutually beneficial or just one way? What am I getting out of this? Because if the answer to that is really nothing, just trauma and just a headache and just a little bit, something for me to focus my time and attention on so that I'm not bored, well, then you're missing out on the point here, because the point is not just to be filling your time with something that will keep you, keep your mind stimulated. It's to actually build a long-term relationship with someone who is actually what you're looking for. Does that make sense to you guys so far? Okay. So number 1 was having an adjustment addiction. Number 2 was being a sacrifice Sally. Number 3, being Mrs. It's not that deep. Number 4 was doing both jobs. Number 5, okay, this is going to sound weird to you, and I know some of you suffer from this. Okay. Number 5 is being what I call an essay texter. Okay. This is one of those nice girl habits that isn't as obvious. It's a little bit more subtle. See, when you're an essay texter, what you're going to essentially be trying to do is you're going to be trying to spill your biography to that man, your autobiography to that man over text. You're also simultaneously be trying to learn his autobiography through text. This is one of those nice girl habits because when you're an essay texter, your entire MO is trying to get to know someone over text and trying to keep communication with them over text, because when you're having nice girl syndrome, you're going to be thinking to yourself that people will like me more if I'm there constantly. Okay? I want us to be very clear on this. Nice girl syndrome will have you convinced that if you're present 24/7, 368, never leaving people even a smallest bit of breath to have a break from you, that is what will make them appreciate you more, like you more, desire you more, and want you more. Never. Never. Do not be an essay texter. Do not be an autobiography texter, and do not be trying to learn other people's autobiographies over text. It will not serve you. It will not increase someone's desire for you. In fact, it'll make it that much easier for men to say to themselves, cool, I don't need to go out on a date with her. I don't need to spend any more time with her. I don't need to see her for another week or 2 weeks. Okay? Right? This is a nice girl habit. Okay. This is a nice girl habit that forms one of 2 ways. One, you're a textaholic, which we've talked about on the show before, and why that's bad in so many different ways. Because you feel like you need to be texting someone 24/7 to feel like you're in a relationship with them. Okay, that's not true. You can still be in a relationship with someone that you don't text 24/7. So 1, you're a textaholic. Now, the second way that this happens when you become like an essay texter trying to extract people's autobiography and give them your autobiography over text. The second way that comes about is when a guy that you meet is used to being a textaholic. And so he tells you, hey, I feel like you don't like me because you don't text me as much, or because you don't reach out to me as much. And see, when we scroll up and we go up into the adjustment addiction, your adjustment addiction gets triggered when a guy tells you or communicates to you that he's having a little bit of anxiety at the fact that you don't text him that much. And because you have an adjustment addiction, you're thinking, wait a second. Are you going to stop liking me because I don't text you as much? Are you going to not be interested in me because I don't text you as much? Are you going to look for another girl who texts you 24/7 because I don't text you as much as all those other girls text you? And so what are you going to do? You're going to make an adjustment and you're going to say, okay, never mind. I was doing a thing where I wasn't going to try to get to know you over text, but now that you said you're having some anxiety about me not texting you, I'll be on my phone 25/8 so that you never miss an opportunity to talk to me. And I'm always here for you, always communicating with you, always talking to you at all times of the day. And you never have to have any anxiety about missing me or wondering where I'm at or anything like that. I'll be here 20. You'll know exactly what I'm doing every time of the day. I'll use like another day. This habit will only make you more and more undesirable to men. Despite them telling you that this is something they want, and even if they tell you that this is something that gives them anxiety, that you're not super big on texting, you're not the greatest texter, you're not texting them back in 25 seconds or less, I want you to understand it will never, ever, ever, ever benefit you to be an essay texter, to be an biography texter. Okay? To be someone who's thinking that the bulk of your relationship exists over text. That is nice girl syndrome, and you're going to be thinking to yourself, "Oh, I'm going to be more of what he likes by being available on text 24/7." You will not be more of what he likes that way. And it is like a virus that will take over your mind and actually make your life worse, because the guys that you're trying to attract more and trying to get to desire you more because you want them will actually desire you less because you're doing this. Because you're trying to be available on this cell phone 24/7. Okay? Especially at the beginning, you see, there's a reason that things happen in stages, and there's a reason that a buildup occurs in natural relationship, and it's the same reason why people say, "Oh, you should try and be friends with your partner first." It's not because friendships are the best thing ever. It's because the process of being friends first, okay, even though I don't advise to just be casual friends with people that you want to be romantic with, what they mean by being friends first, what they mean is allowing your relationship to build up over time and being patient in getting to know someone before you make the decision of jumping right into sleeping with them. That's what they really mean. And allowing yourself to analyze, do we even have a real connection here first before we just jump into things? And who are you really first before we just jump into things? Okay. And the reason I say all of that is because the natural occurrence of how things are supposed to build up over time is okay. Meaning that when you go out on a date with someone and you might not see them for a week, or you might not speak to them for a week, what do you think is happening throughout that time where you're not speaking to them as much because you haven't gone on a date with them in that time frame? You're able to think about the person. You're able to analyze, I kind of like spending time with them. I can kind of contrast what it's like to be around them versus what it's like to not be around them. And as time goes on, you realize that you enjoy, the guys at least, I will speak for the guys realize that they enjoy their time with you way more than they enjoy their time away from you. And as they continue to spend more time with you and they continue to enjoy that time with you, it builds up and builds up and builds up, and their desire to see you more builds and builds and builds until they say to themselves, I can't just be with you casually dating you. You need to be my girlfriend because I want that much of you, right? I want that much emotional and physical access to you, that I want us to be committed to each other so that I can get that next level of access to you. And as it builds over time, there's a reason for it building so that it can come to a breaking point where he says, no, I want you in this capacity, right? And he can stay driven throughout that time period. Okay. And being an essay texter will only make it easier for him to say, you know what? I see you and I talk to you what feels like 24/7, and I never really get a break from you. So how are guys, especially from the very beginning, ever supposed to contrast what it's like to not have you in their life when you're always in their life? How are they supposed to contrast what it's like to not speak to you when they're always speaking to you? I know it sounds horrible, and I know it sounds like, but Tomisin, that's so mean to not text guys on purpose and not try to be available over text and not have these text conversations. What if he wants to have a text conversation? Who cares? Who cares? Who cares? You're not here to be the nicest girl ever, because the reality of it is he ain't gonna like you for being the nicest girl ever. He gonna like you because you're the girl he wants. And the reality of it is, guys aren't stroking themselves to the nicest girl ever. They're stroking themselves to the most desirable women, who are the dream women. And 99.9% of the time, the dream woman is out of reach or barely in reach. The dream woman is not in front of them, talking to them 24/7, never giving them a break from him, from her. Okay. I know that's something that might make throw some of you off and be like, damn, Tomisin, that's damn. I didn't realize that. Maybe I should take a step back. Yes. When you take a step back, you're going to feel a bit mean. Okay. It's going to feel mean to take a step back. It's going to feel mean to not be an essay texter anymore. It's going to feel mean to not be available on the cell phone texting 24/7 all times of the day. It's going to feel mean. That's the point. When you start becoming a little bit mean, you'll be shocked. You'll be shocked how the guys will want to sniff your butthole. They're going to want to crawl on glass and sniff your butthole when you start being a little bit mean. All these years of your life when you've been thinking that being a nice girl is going to make you the most feminine version of yourself, and you're thinking that femininity is related to being nice and being unassuming and being quiet and being likable. No, that is not what femininity is. And you can be feminine while being very mean. And in fact, when you combine the feminine with the mean, the men, they wag their tails and their tongue goes out and they go, "Oh my God, you barely even like me. Can I spend my money on you? Can I buy you anything that you want? Can I take you out anywhere? You're so amazing," right? And they just chase after you like a hungry hyena. And you're thinking to yourself, I literally am showing you no attention. I'm literally showing you the bare minimum, literally the bare minimum of attention. And you're obsessed with me. And you'll be wondering why the men that you don't want are obsessed with you, and then the men that you really want don't pay you any mind. That's how they're wired. It's weird, but that's how they're wired. Okay. Electric Field donates $20 in the YouTube chat. She says, let me pull it up over here so I can read it better. Electric Field says, does an ex turn into a dream woman when she uses no contact? Well, here's the thing. I would say that nothing is impossible, Electric Field. However, if you spent a majority of that relationship, we'll just say approaching it with the wrong strategy. Let's just say the opposite of the strategy that we like to approach stuff in the Players Club. He will eventually, because remember how we talk about learning someone throughout the process of getting to know them. He will have learned you as someone he can take advantage of, as someone he can utilize, as someone whose boundaries he can cross without facing consequences. So that will already be his established feeling and mindset about you and your character and who you are. So when you're an ex, it will be very hard for him to change that, take a complete 180 in his mind about you. You understand what I'm saying? That's why I always tell you guys that it's very important to be cognizant of how you're presenting yourself and what you allow to happen in the very beginning stages of the relationship, because remember, he's learning you all throughout this time. See, the thing about it is very similar to training a puppy, right? When you're training a puppy, if you focus very, very closely on making sure that every rule you want to set and everything you want that puppy to learn, you implement all of those rules and expectations, and you punish him for the things that he's been doing wrong when he's a puppy. When he becomes an adult dog, you actually make your life so much easier, because you don't have to spend all of his adult dog life training him and retraining him on what to do and what not to do. Your dog already understands what to do, what not to do, what's okay and what's not okay. So your life is easier as the dog becomes an adult, because you spent a lot of that beginning early stages time when he was a puppy, helping him understand what is okay and what is not okay. And the worst thing for you to be doing when you're training your puppy is to be thinking that everything that goes on when they're a puppy is no big deal because they're just a puppy. When that dog grows up into an adult and you're trying to undo a lot of the things that you allowed the dog to do when it was a puppy, like jumping up on the couch, scratching up the sofa. It was cute when he was a little puppy and his nails were literally a couple of centimeters long. Now that he's an adult dog and his nails are a couple of inches long and they get really sharp, they scratch stuff up and they can make you bleed. It's not as cutesy anymore. Not very demure anymore. Not as mindful anymore, okay? Right? And now that he's an adult dog, you're actively thinking, oh my God, how do I undo all of the stuff that I allowed him to do as a puppy? But at that point, it becomes a lot harder to train your dog into the right and wrong thing to do. So I say all that to say, to answer Electric Field's question, when someone becomes an ex, they're like an adult dog at that point. So they have already been trained to treat you a certain type of way. And it becomes a lot harder to try to think to yourself, oh, now after you become an adult dog, dog in our relationship, I'm going to try to undo all of those things and all the ways that I've allowed you to act in our relationship. So simply no contact is not necessarily just going to flip their mindset towards you. You understand what I'm saying? The same way, it's not like you can just ignore your dog or be mad at your dog for a little bit and then all of a sudden your adult dog is never going to do those things again. You're really going to have to go through the process of retraining your entire dog. And even some dogs, it's very difficult to retrain them after a certain amount of time of allowing things to slide. Okay? Does that make sense? Someone says they already had you. Sometimes when they learn certain things about you and they learn to be able to treat you in a certain way, sometimes guys come back and they find it very difficult to not treat you that way. Okay, it's not necessarily a fault of yours, but I do want you to understand these are the type of things that are important. When I talk about being intentional in your relationships, that's what I mean by being intentional. Making sure that the things that are important to you, the values that you possess, and the things that you don't want to continue in the relationship, you step on those very, very early. Okay, maybe we might have to have a whole show on that, on how to make sure that you're stepping on things very early in the relationship, because when you step on them early, then you don't have to worry about them. Your life becomes very easy down the line. For those of you who are frustrated in your already existing established relationship, it's because when those things presented themselves early on, you didn't step on them. Okay, and you need to. You have to. If you don't, they will continue to go on and escalate and get worse. Okay, so number 1 was adjustment addiction. Number 2, being a sacrifice Sally. Number 3, Mrs. It's Not That Deep. Number 4, doing both of his jobs. Number 5, being an essay texter. Number 6, we'll have something that we're going to call comeback season. Okay, now, here's one of these traits that you're going to possess as a nice girl and as a chronic nice girl. One of these traits you're going to possess is the desire to allow, this is so horrible, the desire to allow people to come back into your life all the time. And here is the worst part about that, is that because you're a nice girl, and you want to believe in the goodness in people and their ability to change and their ability to be apologetic for what they've done, you'll constantly find yourself in a position where, regardless of how much time has passed, you always feel like someone deserves another chance. And so because you always feel like someone deserves another chance, there is never a period of time in which you say to yourself, okay, after this period of time of not being able to show me what I'm looking for, you're done forever now. Let me give you an example of that. So let's say you start talking to a guy that you meet on a dating app, okay? Because a lot of you are meeting people on dating apps. And in the process of you meeting this guy on a dating app, you're chit-chatting over the phone. Maybe you text a little bit, maybe you FaceTime sometimes, and maybe you call sometimes. But he never seems to ask you out on a date. You'll end up chit-chatting about it, going back and forth about it. Sometimes you address it and you ask him why he's not asking you out on dates. He makes excuses like, oh, I'm busy this day. I got work, I got family, I got this, I got that. You talk for a little bit more, you FaceTime a little bit more, but it always fizzles out into nothing. And you go through these cycles of talking, texting, FaceTiming, not going out on a date. You become frustrated, things kind of fizzle out. And then there's a period of time, maybe 1 month, a couple of weeks, or a couple of months that you guys don't speak. And then he comes back, oh, I miss you, what you've been up to. I haven't heard from you in a bit. And you go through the same cycle over and over and over again. See, you're entertaining what I call comeback season. And this is a nice girl habit that you need to end. Because when you show people that there is no time constraint on how urgent it is to put their best foot forward, you allow them to realize that treating you bad this time doesn't really mean anything, because they can just come back from the dead, as so to speak, and be back in your life just by waiting a period of time. Are you following what I'm saying? And as you continue to show people that they're allowed to do that, they never take any individual opportunity as a serious, urgent, real, scarce opportunity to get access to you or build a relationship with you. In fact, they only end up thinking to themselves every time that they do get an opportunity to speak with you or be around you, they only think to themselves, gee, I'm talking to her now and I'm spending time with her now, but if I mess this up, if I say the wrong thing, if I'm not intentional about this relationship, does it really matter that much? Because if I'm not intentional about this relationship and we fizzle out, it's not like I'm not going to be able to text her in a little bit, in a couple of months or a couple of weeks. If I just hit her up and say, hey, big head, how you doing? She's going to text me back. She's going to allow me to go through the same cycle. And so what you'll find is a lot of guys in your life, even if they are seeing you and even if they are spending time with you, what you're going to find is guys continuously come back into your life and make the same mistakes over again. Exact same. And all they do is just come into your life. They pretend like they're apologetic for a little bit about the mistake that they last made. They talk to you for a little bit. They pretend like things are cool for a little bit. And then it just runs itself in the same cycle that it's been. And you become frustrated because the guys that you're allowing in your life are guys who only put you through the same cycle over and over and over again. And as you continue to be in the cycle over and over again, you find it difficult to emotionally detach yourself from that individual guy, and also more difficult to build new relationships with new people because you're in this hamster wheel with the same guy. You're never actually ending it, and we're going to get to cutting people off in a little bit. You're never actually ending it, and you're just allowing yourself to be in the same cycle over again. And like I mentioned, when it comes to respect and desire, they're one and the same. So men realize they don't have to respect you. They don't have to put their best foot forward. It's not urgent to be who you need them to be or to build this relationship in a way that establishes that he can be the man that you expect him to be. And so he says to himself, why bother caring? Why bother making this important to me when it's not important at all? Why bother making this urgent to me when it's not urgent at all? I can go about this however I want to go about this, in whatever way I want to go about this, because it doesn't matter. There are no consequences to my actions here. Okay. Ashay says, I will never disrespect myself like that again. It's good because that means that you're learning. Okay. I know when we're having this discussion today, some of you guys are like, oh, wow, Tomisin, that's me. I did that. I did that. I've been doing that. I'm still doing that. But when you're realizing this and hearing it out loud and you're realizing that you do that, maybe you can realize that why this hasn't been working out for you and how you can make an adjustment and not do this anymore. Okay. Adia says, I don't agree with you. I legit went through this. It hurts so much. What do you mean? If you went through this and it hurts so much, then what do you mean? What do you mean you don't agree with me? Doesn't that mean that doesn't that mean you agree with me? Right? Danny says, so what do you say in this situation? In a situation where you're allowing people to come back continuously without any consequences, you don't allow them to come back. And actually, that's a perfect segue to number 7. So we talked about adjustment addiction, sacrifice Sally, being Mrs. It's Not That Deep, doing both jobs, being an essay texter, comeback season. And number 7 is being a dull pair of scissors, AKA not being able to cut people off. Okay. It's similar to comeback season where you allow people to just come back into your life all the time. But what I specifically mean when I say you do not cut people off, I'm not just talking about your romantic relationships. I'm also talking about your friendships. I'm also talking about anyone in your life that doesn't show them to be someone who is capable of treating you with respect and care and dignity. Okay. And see, the thing about it is, this nice girl habit is not just something that guys perceive from the way that you go about your relationship with him. They also perceive it from how you go about your relationships or friendships with other people. They also perceive it, by how you allow your ex to treat you, or whether or not your ex is still in your life. See, one of the major mistakes that some of you are making when you're trying to build new relationships with new men and you want them to respect you. See, your past relationship, it can really, really hurt you or help you building future relationships. Why? Because that is a prime example of what will happen to the new guy if he doesn't do the right things or act according to the script for what you want or what you're looking for. It will also show him what he can get away with if he acts the same way that your ex did. And so this might sound a little complicated, but when you go on your dates and in your talking stages and you're talking about your past relationship, you don't realize, you think that you're just talking about your past relationship, but you're actually making it very clear to him where he stands with you and where he could stand with you in his relationship, were he to do certain good things and were he to do certain bad things. Because if you go on and you tell him about your past relationship and specifically your ex, and you tell him how he cheated on you 20 times, you tell him how he disrespected you all these times, you tell him how he slept with 3 of your best friends, you tell him how he went behind your back and he lied to you and manipulated you and all that stuff. And then you go on to say, me and my ex, we share a dog. So, we kind of still talk here and there. And, we kind of still associate with each other because we work together or because we go to the same gym. So when I see him, I just say hi to him, but it's nothing that serious. Or sometimes he texts me, but we're just friends now. We're in the same friend group. So, it's not that deep. We just try to keep it, not too serious and lighthearted. You want to know what guys perceive of you when you have this nice girl habit that you have an inability to cut people off? They say to themselves, oh, good. This is great. I know I shouldn't have to have respect for her. I shouldn't have to care about anything I do here. In fact, I also know I've got a way bigger schlong than her ex. I can D her down way better than her ex. I'm probably taller than her ex. I'm probably richer than her ex. I probably got more muscle than her ex. Okay, I'm jacked up, right? And I'm just overall a better man than her ex. So you know what guys think to themselves, because this is what guys are always thinking. When you tell him stories about your ex and how he treated you, and if you allowed him to still be in your life after mistreating you, he thinks to himself, oh, perfect. I'm way better than that man. So if he got away with that, I know I can get away with 10 times as much. Because guys are never going to hear you talk about stories of your ex and say to themselves, oh, that guy's better than me. And the way he treated you like trash, I won't treat you like trash. I'll treat you way better than trash. No, in fact, when he hears how much another guy treated you like trash, he starts to think to himself, gee, why would I treat her like a piece of gold, like she's the best thing since sliced bread? Other people treating her like trash. Why I'm going to be the first person to treat her like she's worth something? I want to treat her like trash like all the other guys did. They still get to access her. They still get to be friends with her. They still get to talk to her. I'm going to do her worse than the last guy did. And I'm telling you the truth. This is what guys start to think to themselves when you show yourself to be someone, like we call it a dull pair of scissors, but it just means someone who can't cut people off. They realize that there are no consequences for mistreating you. Not just by how you act in the relationship, but how you go about your relationships and friendships overall. So they say to themselves, oh, well, I'll mistreat you too. I won't worry about putting my best foot forward. See, comeback season was about not worrying about having to have a sense of urgency in the relationship, that they only get one shot and they got to do it right. Being a dull pair of scissors is the realization that they can present themselves any way that they want in this relationship, and it doesn't matter because there are no consequences overall. And if you're struggling from allowing people to come back into your life whenever they want to come back into your life, they'll realize there are no consequences for how I act. And even if I do disappear for a little bit, I can always come back and everything will be fine. Okay. There's never a time limit on things. There's never a sense of urgency. And I never have to feel like it's important for me to put my best foot forward here. Okay. Imagine if there was a job interview that you didn't have to put your best foot forward in. You didn't have to have the right skill set. You didn't have to present yourself in a nice, presentable way. You didn't have to do anything for. You're not going to have a sense of urgency to do anything for that job or put your best foot forward in that job. And you have to understand that a function of people approaching you the right way, respecting you the right way, putting their best foot forward is by giving them a sense of urgency and making it known that they're not going to have access to you if they don't treat you how you expect them to treat you. I know it sounds silly, and I know it sounds like, wow, Tomisin, that's so much work. Why can't I just lay down and just, decide to be in love, and everyone just falls in love and without any work, and I don't have to worry about any of the stuff that you're talking about? It's way too much work. Relationships are way too much work. The reality of it is anything worth having is work. You can have men obsessed with you. You can have men chasing after you. You can have men desiring you like a hungry hyena. But it does require work and strategy. Okay, it doesn't happen magically, which is why it doesn't always happen. But see, as you join the Players Club, you're continuing to gather information. You're continuing to understand these topics and ideas better. You'll be able to adjust the way that you present yourself and go about your relationships, and you'll be able to see the results that you want to see. Okay? Does that make sense to you guys? Now, do you guys have any questions about what we just discussed today? So number 1 was adjustment addiction. Number 2, sacrifice Sally. Number 3, being Mrs. It's Not That Deep. Number 4, doing both jobs. Number 5, being an essay texter. Number 5, allowing comeback season. And number 6, being a dull pair of scissors. Okay? Right? Cashley says they secretly love being bossed around if it doesn't come across as controlling. I would actually agree with that, Cashley. It sounds very weird and very strange to all of you, I'm sure, but guys enjoy being able to come to you, want something from you, and you saying, whoa there, horsey, not so fast. There's going to be a lot of work have to be put into this in order for you to get what you want from this. They actually do enjoy that, because you have to understand it's natural to them to work for something that they really want. Why do you think men love playing video games? There is no good popular video game where you get to start off from level 100. It wouldn't make any logical sense, and it wouldn't be a video game worth playing. The most popular video games require the most skill to get good at. And to the point where people compete with each other one-on-one or versus each other to try to decide who is the best man, who has the best skill. Do you understand? And only when you practice and work and build up your skill set, can you become the person that has all the perks or all the rewards, all the skins or all the whatever accolades or respect in the game that you get. I don't play video games that much, but you get my drift. Right? And that's part of the reason why men love the video game experience so much, because it functions on their brain and on their psyche the same way it would when they were hunters going out and killing deer. Okay. It's just that now men don't go out and hunt deer. They play Call of Duty. All right. So I guess that's where we're at in 2024, but it plays on their brain the same way. You following what I'm saying? Right? Cherie says, why don't you play video games? I don't have time. I'm here with you guys for like 2 hours a day, planning shows. I got a lot of stuff to do, much of which doesn't consist of me playing games. And I just don't like spending my time doing stuff that doesn't, give me anything in return. I'm not providing value to the world by playing video games. But it's not to diss any guy that plays video games. If your man plays video games, that doesn't mean he's a bad person. He's just not my cup of tea, okay? Okay, does that make sense to you guys? AD says, can you fix this after doing this? Yes, theoretically you can. But like I said, if you're in a relationship with someone and you've already established the dynamic, it's like trying to teach an adult dog how to not do any of the things that you've allowed him to do since he was a puppy. Very difficult. And for some of you, you're going to face a lot of pushback. And for some of you, you're going to realize there is no relationship unless you allow him to walk all over you. Okay? Does that make sense? Hammy says, how do I communicate it in a way that doesn't come across as controlling? You see, this is the best part about the communication that you do when you want to pace a man and not allow him to get easy access to you. You just don't do it. I know some of you think that, okay, so Tomisin told me that I shouldn't give it up easy. Tomisin told me that I should go on a date and be analyzing and absorbing information and not go sleep over at his place. So I'm going to go out on the date and tell him all the things that I'm not about to do. No, because the reason I don't want you to do that is because you're challenging those men by basically telling them, hey, I want you to know I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do that. So then all they're thinking is, oh, how can I trick you into doing that? Okay. And their focus isn't on the relationship. They're just thinking about how to prove you wrong and make themselves feel good about getting you to do something that you said you weren't going to do. So the best thing for you to do is just go on your date knowing I'm not going to be sleeping over at your place. I'm not going to come over and drink wine with you. I'm not going to watch Netflix with you. Just do it. So that he realizes I'm not getting anywhere by asking her or dealing with her in this way or approaching her in this way. The only way I get access to her is being consistent, planning the dates, scheduling the dates, and that's the only time I get any sort of positive response or feedback from him. He'll begin learning that way, and that will become the nonverbal communication that actually sticks with him. Instead, because plenty of you have gone on, and I know this because I've experienced this myself, and all my guy friends have experienced this as well. Some of you go out on dates and you talk a bit, oh, I'm not about to sleep with you on the first night. I'm not an easy girl. I'm not like any of these other girls you've been with, and da-da-da-da. And then, have a bit of conversation. You have a little bit of wine at this place, and all of a sudden you're tying your hair back and you're going to work. Okay? So, and it makes you look really stupid and really foolish when you do that way. It's even better for you to just not say anything if you're going to end up doing that in the end anyways, because it doesn't make it seem cool when you do that and you say, oh, I never do this. It actually just makes you look like an idiot. Okay, so don't do that. All right? Miss Two Fly says, what if you don't like to go on a lot of dates, like out in public, because you're more of an introvert? Well, you can have other dates that are public in a private way, but there needs to be some sort. So for example, you can go out on a date that's like a planned hike. That's just you two going out on a hike in a forest. Now, being in a forest alone with a guy you've never met, maybe you might not want to do that. That's some Ted Bundy vibes. But I just say that to say you can make this work for whatever it is that most works for you. What I don't want you to do is put him in a position where the date that you're allowing him to take you on is him sitting at his place while you book an Uber to go over to his place. You show up at his place without him having to even get up off of his couch, and then you start slipping him up, and then you pay for your own Uber back home. That's not a real date. That doesn't require real effort, and he's not going to be able to properly appreciate you or appreciate how much effort it requires to put into you if you allow him to do that and get access to you that way, right? Okay. Maro Kane says, where do we find dates? That answer, I will say, you're going to want to you're going to want to go up and sign up for my for my email subscription, because I'm working on a very, very important, big, huge, gigantic project for you guys that's going to help solve that problem and a couple of other problems. Okay. Very gigantic. Okay. Make sure you sign up for my email list. It's over in my link in my bio. You just scroll down. It says, want to know the secret, and you sign up for my email list. I'm so serious, by the way. It's not a joke. That link is available on TikTok. If you just go into the link in my bio on TikTok, and I'm going to post it right here I'm going to post it right here on YouTube as well for you guys, if you want to sign up for my email list for that project I'm going to do to help all of you beautiful people on. I'm so serious about that. I've been working on this project. It's a big project, very huge, very huge, very huge. Going to take over the world, okay? All right, guys. With that being said, it is time. Oh, we haven't had this time in a long time. It feels like too long since we've had this time. Those of you who are new here probably are unsure what time it really is. Those of you who haven't spent a lot of time with me probably have no idea what time it is. But rest assured, the amazing, beautiful members of the Players Club will let you in on the secret of exactly what time it is. Can you tell them in the chat what time it is? Do you know what time it is? Here we go now. In the chat, what time it is? Do you know what time it is? Here we go now. In the chat, what time is it? Do you know what time it is? Here we go now. In the chat, what time is it? Can you tell me what time it is? Here we go now. In the chat, what time is it? Can you tell me what time it is? In the chat, what time is it? In the chat now. What time is it in the chat? I want to know what time is it in the chat now. What time is it in the chat now? I want to know what time it is. I want to know what time it is. I want to know. I want to know what time it is. I want to know what time it is. I want to know. I want to know what time it is. I want to know what time it is. I want to know. All right, guys. So this is a very amazing, awesome part of the show where we hop into our Players Club Discord, and we answer some of your relationship and situationships, where I get to answer your question live on the show and give you advice on your situation. Now you should go about it live on the show. Okay, so there's two ways you can get in. What just happened here? There's two ways you can get into the relationship advice section on our Discord. So the first way is by asking a question in the free version of our relationship advice here, and I'll answer it live on the show when I can get to it. But I want to make you aware, in the free version, there are hundreds of questions here that haven't been answered by me, and it's first come, first serve. So if you ask your question today, it'll take me around over 30 days to answer your question. So a little bit over a month, because I have lots and lots and lots to answer, okay, in the free version. Now, if you're really impatient and you want your question answered right now, today, yeah, or by tomorrow, okay, very soon, you have a second option, which is to go into Relationship Advice Premium and ask your question there. Now, the only thing you got to do when you go into Premium is you got to donate to the show in order to get access to Relationship Advice Premium. And the way you do that is by going over to the link in my bio, or if you're on TikTok, or the link that's in the pinned comment, or the link in the description if you're on YouTube, and you get access. When you click that link, you'll be able to see where it says donate for Relationship Advice Premium. You donate to the show. Make your Discord name first so you know what your Discord username is. You put your Discord username in the message when you're donating to the show, and you put the title of your question in the message. On my phone, I get a notification when you send in your donation, and I can verify that's you. That way, nobody's in Premium Relationship Advice that's not supposed to be there, and it's fair to all the rest of the people who are waiting their turn in line as well. Okay, so we like to keep it fair on the show, but I also love to give you guys options. Okay, don't worry, I'm going to answer more questions today because we didn't get a chance to answer all of them yesterday. Okay, so let's start off with oh no, we did this one from yesterday. This was Lil Cinny Gang, okay, from yesterday. All right, so next we have here Smissy. So Miss Smissy says, I need advice, okay? Smissy says, hello, Tomisin. I am from Austria, so excuse my English. It's all good, okay? My situation, I met a guy 4 months ago. He is a professional soccer player. Which one? La Liga, Premier League, which one? Spanish league, which one? Damn good looking, and here in Austria for 2 years. Okay, so he's in the Austria's team. We met in a club after I slept. Oh, so we met in a club, and after I slept over at his place. That's like the worst of both worlds. Okay, but okay. I know, no good idea, but I also made it clear, no touching, nothing, and he accepted. I mean, yes, but also you met him at a club, and also right after that you slept over at his place. So why do that? Why not just allow him to take you out on a date the next day? After that day, we spent a lot of time together. Okay, so building up things really fast. Another mistake. Went out for walks or drinks, but mostly spent time at his home because he is tired from training so hard. What I can so you might say I can understand and also enjoy. I get it that he's tired from, doing all his training and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, that's not your problem. Okay. And if you have to adopt the mindset, this is kind of in line with what we're talking about today. You have to adopt the mindset. It's not your job to do his job. So if he's saying that he's too tired, that he wants to sit at home and chill and not do anything and not go out on dates, cool. Then you don't want to be with me. At least you don't want to be with me bad enough to get me. And if that's you, if you're too lazy to do that, then that's perfectly fine. But you ain't gonna get access to me. You have to adopt that mindset, because the moment you start thinking, "Oh, I'm gonna be understanding. I'm going to adjust my own boundaries to or my own standards to be with you," he's gonna be saying to himself, "Perfect. I'll do less then." He always cooked for me at home. Was attentive. We were watching movies, and he never let me play. Or sorry, never let me. Oh, when watching movies? I thought you were at home. I really liked the way he behaved. After a while, I had some stuff at his home, and we had, like you left some stuff at his home, and we had pineapples. It was feeling close to a friendship. My apologies. It was feeling close to a relationship. After 2 weeks, he told me about another girl he was meeting before me, but now is on vacation for longer. What? He added, "But I think I don't want her anymore." What do you mean, I think? What does that mean? I never mentioned this topic again because we continued spending time together, and I didn't want to let him feel like I am insecure. Okay, another grave mistake. When people start telling you things about their past and about their past relationships or past women in their life, especially guys, you need to dig. Never stop digging. Never stop digging. Never stop extracting information. Never stop getting answers. Especially when it seems like there's unfinished business there, or there's a story that hasn't gotten told to you, or that you don't know the full extent of. You need to dig. Do not ignore, because some of you are going to try to ignore it because not because, you want to be nice or stuff. Some of you ignore it because you're thinking to yourself, I don't want to hear this. I don't want to know about it. I just want to pretend that it doesn't exist. You will only do yourself a disservice when you do not dig. You must dig, right? Until you extract the real information, because you're going to find out one way or another. And I guarantee you, I haven't read this beforehand, but I guarantee you this girl becomes a problem. After 1 month, he said she will come back in 2 days, the same day when I went to holiday. We had a big argument in person because he said he must meet her to tell her about me and see how he is feeling in the situation, because they had the same thing we have now. I told you guys that I don't read these ahead of time. I just know how men think and how they operate and how things progress. So the worst thing you can ever do, like I said, is to not ask questions when there's an unfinished story about a woman, especially when that story seems to be ongoing and the chapter doesn't seem to be closed. You want to get a very crystal clear idea on whoever his most recent ex is, where they stand now, why they ended, and what the relationship went through. If you don't, you'll be shocked to find out down the road that he's still with her, seeing her, or spending time around her. Imagine a guy that you feel like you're in a relationship now telling you that he has to tell another girl that you're in a relationship to see how he feels. When I was in my vacation, I think he might say, when I was on my vacation, he said he needs time for himself to think about what he wants and who he is. Okay. We had a conversation when I came back from holiday. I did not ask him anything about her. Again, huge, gigantic, monumental mistake. He did not want to kiss me and found ways to just make time short with me. So you're acknowledging that things have changed and gotten weird, yet you're actively avoiding asking him about the situation that you know you should be getting answers to. This is not even about trying to not look insecure. You just don't want to know the answer to these things. Just be honest. You're too scared to know the answer to these things, so you don't want to dig and figure out the truth. That's the honest truth. Okay. He said, let's meet on the weekend, but on the weekend he could not say something and avoided seeing me. He said he has lots of problems depending on his future because he has an injury and can't play. What does that have to do with not seeing you? He said he just wants to go out and drink and can't think about a relationship. He can't think about a relationship and he just wants to go out and drink. Yeah. First, I was upset and thought that this was just an excuse, but then I read a newspaper and there was a lot of financial problems going on for the whole team. Again, what does that have to do with him seeing you? And if there's financial problems going on, why would he be spending his money on Ubers and alcohol that's being marked up like 1,000% when he could be at home or having, lower cost dates with his girlfriend? How does that make any sense? Anyways, after a while, I started being needy and offered him to do something together. So now you're being the man. You're doing both jobs like we talked about today. I know, big mistake, masculine energy. And he was always busy. Of course, he doesn't even want to. Okay, this is so sad. After some weeks of not seeing each other and barely writing, I was on another holiday. Damn, you be taking trips on trips on trips. And got very mad because he provoked me with stories only open for close friends, where he was out with girls and also with this other girl. She is part of his friend group. I got pissed and talked bad about her. I think he might say, which was the reason. He said, it's better that we both go our own way. I said, you are 100% sure. I said, are you 100% sure? Because there will be no coming back to me. I hope you actually meant that. After break, he messaged a yes. That was the point. I deleted him on IG instead of putting him on mute like you told. No. I say to put men on mute for specific reasons. If you actually want them to fix their behavior or for a whole bunch of different reasons, maybe you don't want to be looking at his stuff. But if someone shows themselves to be not what you're looking for and you're like, this is done, you block them. Not even necessarily for him, but for yourself, so you're not tempted to reach back out to him again if you need that. If you don't need that and you can actually just get rid of the man and never speak to him again, then just unfollow him and rid yourself of that guy. So 3 weeks later, he contacted me again 2 times. After the first time, I did not react to his WhatsApp story reaction. After he saw me in the gym while his whole team was training and staring at me. He greeted me there. I shortly greeted back, but then greeted back, but then didn't pay. I think he might say didn't pay any attention to him. In the evening, he wrote me the second time and I responded. He asked about the place in my WhatsApp story. You can't see a lot of the place. In the end, I said he can join me there next week. What happened to standing on business? What happened to saying that he was never going to be able to speak to you again? What happened to that? It disappoints me every time that you guys do this stuff because you make yourself look like Boo Boo the Fool. And guys love this because when they realize that you will walk back everything that you tried to stand on, they realize for the rest of the relationship, they don't have to do anything or take anything serious. It's ridiculous. Because he will not be able to find it alone, it is somewhere in the woods. Great. So please, what shall I say then? How should I behave? I'm not sure if he will really come because I destroyed his ego by not giving him attention. Do you really think that hurt him, not speaking to him for a couple of weeks? Do you think it hurt him that much? Back when he just was able to reach out to you and you were asking for him and you to go out. But if he really wants to join me, I would say I'm not here to just spend time with you. Let's make some things clear. But I got confused by all your advices. I was listening in the podcast before. Draw a clear line without telling him, but set and communicate clear boundaries. Thank you so much. Okay, so Smissy, when I talk about setting clear boundaries with people, I'm discussing when you're building a relationship with someone, you show them, not tell them. You show them, not tell them. You show them, not tell them that if you cross my boundaries, there will be consequences. Now, when I'm talking about not, because you said down here, not telling him, right? But you also want to communicate that. You communicate that with your actions by withdrawing when he shows himself to be someone you're not looking for, or acting in a way that is not in line with what you're looking for or what you want or expect out of a guy. And also, like we mentioned today, you need to have guys have a sense of urgency. So if he has done in this process of getting to know you and spend time with you, if he has shown himself to not be very serious about this relationship or be taking this relationship very seriously, then he loses his opportunity to be with you. Okay? Right? And I need you to understand that this isn't a forever thing. Okay? This isn't a, sorry, I'm just putting a little bit of aquifer on my nose. This isn't a forever thing where he gets the opportunity to be with you at all times of the, whenever he wants, no matter how he treats you. If he's going to treat you like this and not adjust his behavior, he's not just going to be able to reach out to you after a couple of weeks, talk to you again like nothing happened, and, just go from there. If there's actually going to be consequences, then there actually has to be consequences. And you need to stand on those consequences. Are you following me, Smissy? Okay. So the worst thing you did in this situation was allowing him to come back in any capacity, because you already told him earlier that how he was treating you wasn't okay. And you already told him that if he's not taking this serious, then you want nothing to do with this. And after you told him that and you ended this, basically essentially ending this because he was basically not taking this seriously, well, that's it. That was his opportunity, right? And I know that it's painful, but you need to understand that when you give guys an opportunity to show you who they are, and you give guys an opportunity to take this seriously, if they choose, because it's a choice, if they choose to not take it seriously, after you give them an opportunity to take it seriously, then their ship has sailed. Okay? Their ship has sailed. Do not be thinking about how you're going to give a guy a second, a third, a fourth, a fifth, a sixth opportunity to be with you and build this relationship with you. Okay? Because if you're taking yourself seriously and you have any respect for yourself, you'll realize that anything that has value is not going to be available forever. And so if you actually want him to value you properly, he needs to be treating you as if you're not available forever. And if he is treating you like you're available forever, you need to show him you ain't available forever. Okay, Smissy? So actually what I would do in this situation is I wouldn't speak to him anymore. Why? Because he had his opportunity to treat you right. He had his opportunity to be intentional about you, and him coming back into your life now, you need to recognize what's happening. Him coming back into your life right now isn't even stemming from him saying, hey, I wronged you. I went about this the wrong way. I want to do right by you in this relationship now. That's not even how he's ending up back into your life. He's ending up back into your life because you're telling him, because when he asked about the place on your WhatsApp, you said he can join you there next week because he will not be able to find it because it's somewhere in the woods. So you basically allowed him to come back into your life by planning and organizing and scheduling the date for him that you guys can go on. Do you see how that works? Because you said, join me next week. So you gave him a time frame in the woods so that I can show you this place that we can go to together. That's you planning the date. Make no mistake about it. So if you allow this guy into your life, it won't be because he recognized that not getting access to you is painful and he wants to do right by this relationship. It's because you did the work for him and you were the boyfriend for him, which is the only reason why he's back into your life. And like I said before, once you start building this foundation, what do you think is going to happen in the future when your boundaries are crossed again? What do you think is going to happen in the future when he starts treating you in a way that you don't like again? He's not going to reach out to you. He's not going to say anything to you. He's not going to do anything for you because he knows with a little bit of anxiety, you'll come running back to him. And in fact, you'll ask him out on a date instead of him having to do any work or apologizing or acknowledging. Okay. So undo this by undoing that hangout. I want you to say, never mind, no more hangout. And I want you to not be speaking to him again until he reaches out to you and says, I want to make a change here. I want to do right by this relationship, and starts putting some action towards that. If he doesn't approach you on that type of energy, off with him, away with him, not in your life anymore. Him, no. Okay. Next we have here, hey girly deleted her message. Okay, let me just go through that. Next here we have Ivy. Ivy says, too chill. So Ivy says, hi, Tomisin, there is a guy I like, but he's a little too chill for me in making plans and has gotten me stuck in this this has gotten me stuck in the past with other guys as well. When making plans, sometimes men leave it open-ended, saying things like, let's try for this weekend, or use words like possibly or let's aim for. I usually say something like, sounds good, and then I'm left wondering if it's happening or not. And sometimes they don't come through and nothing happens. I'm also not the one to ask for plan updates or confirmations. It makes me feel like I'm excessively concerned with details like a nervous Nelly. My rule has always been a cutoff time. If they don't check in the day we are seeing each other by 3 p.m., I consider it off. So I'm assuming you mean like 3 p.m. if the date is at night, right? Because it wouldn't be 3 p.m. if the date was, during the day. This is so I'm not left scrambling to shower, but this obviously isn't working for me long term. There has to be a better way. Sometimes they text way too late after a reasonable cutoff time. Their opportunity is shot. Sometimes they message days later with an apology or no acknowledgement of it at all. If they apologize or ask what happened, I usually respond with something like this: no worries, I would have loved to see you, but I didn't hear from you. I made other plans. I want to appear unbothered, like it didn't matter, but it obviously does. It has become a pattern now when plans are always so easily rescheduled. I have to stop this, but I don't know how exactly. So my question is, how do I communicate that I need a committed plan without looking uptight with a person that is so relaxed about plans? Maybe it's a do nothing situation, or maybe I should say I have a busy schedule and need to plan, even if it may make me look like I'm trying to use how busy I am as a tactic to force a confirmed date from him. I know I know they can't be blamed because they never firmed up in the first place, and I know we shouldn't call guys out on what they did. I also know we shouldn't call guys out on what they do. Thanks, Thompson. Okay, this is a great question, Ivy. I see why you're conflicted. Now, let me make this very clear. Here's the thing. When someone makes a soft plan with you, we'll call it a soft core plan, just throwing something out there as a possibility. And you're thinking to yourself, okay, so I guess we'll see this weekend. So then I'm waiting for a response and a confirmation on what day of the weekend and what time. If they can't pull themselves to confirm a date and a time, and then they reach out to you afterwards asking, oh, sorry for what happened, or they reach out to you an hour before and saying, are we still on for a date, in an hour or in 2 hours or in whatever, you tell them no, right? This is where I want you to balance, because I know you want to seem unbothered, but I want you to balance being unbothered with understanding when to make something clear that you don't tolerate. So this would be one of the cases where rather than making it seem like you're unbothered, you just make it seem like it's something you don't tolerate, but you don't have to make it seem like, oh, I'm so hurt that you did this to me. You see, the way you frame things can be very important. When you frame this, you can frame it in a way where I don't tolerate this from anyone. So it could be you, could be my mom, could be my brother, could be anyone. I just don't tolerate it. So anyone that's going to be able to spend time with me is not going to be doing this. If you know that you aren't capable of doing that, perfectly fine with me. This is the way you plug in the unbothered is, I don't care if you're capable of doing it or not. I'm just letting you know that anyone who can't properly plan and schedule with me is not going to get my time. Simple. You couldn't do it, so you didn't get my time. And so I'll say that even more specifically, your response when guys message you and an hour before or whatever should be, I'm not going out with you. I'm not going out with you. You didn't plan or schedule or confirm with me a time frame in which you wanted to hang out. I can't just drop everything and go and hang out. I have to plan and schedule my life. So, sucks. You really just have to leave it there. Some guys are going to respond with is, oh, damn, that's pretty cold. Or, oh, damn, that's pretty mean. Or, oh, damn, I did say Saturday. Okay, you said Saturday, but you also didn't say what time. You also didn't say where. I'm not going for that, right? And you really have to present it as like, look, that just doesn't work for me. If that's something that you enjoy doing and you like to do stuff last minute, the minute before, and you want to do whatever, however you want to do it, go ahead and do that with whoever you want to do it. Just know when it comes to me, you cannot message me the day before and say, but I said this weekend, so I assume Saturday. So how come you aren't ready and it's Saturday? Doesn't work like that for me. And you have to be willing so badly that you are not willing to budge on what your expectations, that you do not become fazed by what other guys are doing or how they're approaching it. Because the honest reality of it is, if a guy was serious about spending time with you, he would make the date known, make the time known, and make it clear. Do you think that he goes to work and he tells his boss, I'll just show up sometime this week? And show up whenever he wants? Or is there a specified, agreed upon time that he's going to show up at work, that he's expected to be there? I need you guys to shed yourself of the idea that it's not that deep or not that important, or that because I'm supposed to be acting unbothered that I shouldn't address it and I should make myself look unbothered. If someone doesn't show up for you, how you expect them to show up? See, you can be unbothered in that, hey, if you can't show up for me that way, it's perfectly fine with me. I'll find someone that is. But you don't need to be someone that says, oh, I'll just pretend like as if it's not an issue. No. I don't allow people to hang out with me that are going to just say, oh, we'll hang out whenever and then show up whenever. I'll give you an example of what I'm talking about. There was one time where I went to go hang out with a girl, and we had planned to hang out, and we had set the date and the time or whatever. And I went to this person's house to pick her up. And when I went to go pick her up, she was like really late on the date. And I was waiting out there for like 15 minutes. And after 15 minutes, I said, look, you have literally 2 more minutes to come out. And if you don't come out in 2 more minutes, I'm leaving, because it's a lack of respect for my time, right? And I'm sitting here waiting, and you're like basically like just getting ready now. And after the 2 minutes was up, I just left. And I didn't speak to her because and I didn't need to say, oh, well, but I told you that, it made me feel bad that you made me wait for so long and this and that. I just left. Anyone that's going to get time with me is not going to be able to be willy-nilly like that and have me waiting outside like Boo Boo the Fool. So I say that to say you can be firm on your boundaries, and people will say to themselves, okay, either I get access to you by adhering to those boundaries and standards, or I don't get access to you. And the choice becomes very simple, and your life becomes very simple. You don't need to make an adjustment for what people are doing. Either you figure out you're a grown man, figure out how to plan the time and the date and the place, or don't get access. One of the two. Very simple. Okay. So next here we have, we go into the free version. So let's head over into the free version of relationship advice here. Let's scroll down of the many, many questions that we have. Many questions. And we'll answer some of these here. Meow says, will he come back? I don't know. Let's see. I am 24. Met this guy who's 22 on a dating app. Not good. I know not a great place to meet people, but whatever. After chatting a bit, he asked for a date. On the first date, everything was nice. At the beginning, everything's always nice. He was showing lots of interest, and after the date, he wanted to go to the park. At the end of the date, I abruptly said I was going this way and left him. Wait, what? That's kind of random. I said that because my bus was taking off and I wanted to catch it. Okay. The day after, I hadn't heard from him, so I wrote to him that I had a good time and it was nice to get to know him. He immediately asked me to meet again the next day. We met at a park that I had mentioned to him I liked. I told him at the beginning of the date that I had to leave at a specific time because I was meeting the girls to go to the gym. He tried to be more touchy on the second date in the park. And I tried to reciprocate in the park. Keep in mind that I'm not a very touchy person and kind of bad at flirting. So then why would you do that if that's not you? Somehow, the end of the date got stale. He mentioned that he was going home for 2 weeks. He lives in another city. When we said goodbye, we just hugged and went our separate ways. Nothing more. Those 2 weeks passed and I hadn't heard from him, nor did he post on Instagram. I kind of forgot about him, but my girlfriend asked me to show her a picture of the guy I'd been seeing. After showing the picture, I started to get curious about him. So later that day, I wrote him, why would you show her a picture of the guy that you're not seeing? Because you're not seeing him. Okay. Everything was great. We talked a lot, laughed, and he was genuinely interested. At the end of the 4th date, he held my hand as we walked to the bus stop, and there he kissed me. After the kiss, he asked me when he could see me again. I'm confused though. Bus stop. Is he taking the bus back home too? Does he not have a car or any form of transportation? I'm just asking. So he was fully interested, I guess. I'm also assuming if you're meeting on dating apps, I get not everyone has a car, but if you're meeting on, okay, you're both adults, right? I don't know. It's just weird. Meow then goes on to say, on our 5th or 6th date, I can't remember, he invited me to watch a movie with him at his place. Like that he owns or his parents owns. I knew what he was implying, so I invited him over to mine. Wait, so you guys both have places, but you don't Uber to your dates? Not that it's a horrible thing, but like, I feel like taking the bus to a date is really inconvenient. Anyways, I felt safer if he came to my place. Okay. Things happened, but the obvious thing did not because he was too anxious and the soldier was not working properly. I'm confused. You realize that's still a horrible thing, right? Him not sleeping with you because his pee-pee couldn't get hard is just as horrible as him sleeping with you. Because it doesn't mean he couldn't, it just means that his pee-pee didn't get hard. So it's not really a function of you having the boundary, it's just a function of the blood flow not going to his pee-pee. It still doesn't make you look very good. The next day I wrote him that I had a great time and he replied, same. After that, we met once a week and every time we ended up in bed. Shocker. But keep in mind that none of this times we actually do it. Probably because he couldn't get it up and he's too embarrassed. Not because he actually couldn't do it with you. The first 2 to 3 times, so what did I just say? First 2 to 3 times his soldier was still not working properly. So you guys were trying consistently, it just wasn't working. He was looking out for me because he offered me to compensate with other stuff in bed, but I did not want that because I didn't want to reciprocate the TMI or oral stuff. Chat, wow. Meow, this is so backwards. I really can't even fathom how backwards it is, the stuff that you're doing. If you're not prepared to give him oral, how on earth do you think that you're prepared to sleep with him? I just cannot. Maybe I live in the twilight zone. I cannot fathom how you think that the order of operations is, let me sleep with you first, but I'm uncomfortable giving you oral stuff. So we'll sleep together first before we ever think about doing the oral. If you're uncomfortable with oral stuff, that should tell you that the relationship isn't in a position where you two should be sleeping together. Start using your critical thinking skills and think to yourself, does that really make sense? That I'm willing to sleep with you right now, but I'm not willing to do oral stuff with you right now? Does that communicate that we have built the level of trust required to be doing this in general? Should I be more patient until I actually feel comfortable with doing everything and not just feel comfortable only with sleeping with you and not comfortable with doing oral with you? These are the type of things you should be thinking about when you're building a relationship with someone. This stuff makes me so mad. He asked me a few times for oral stuff, but I said to him that this is off limits. That is for a special person only. Chat, I'm gonna take a stretch. I'm gonna take a stretch here, cause I don't know. I don't understand some of you guys sometimes. Oh God, I really don't get it. I really don't get it. And I love helping you guys, but I just feel like the backwards thought process is so ridiculous. It's hard to even fathom what is really going on here. It really is. It really is. Chat, please explain to me, unless maybe I'm confused. Maybe this is some new 2024 era age stuff that I don't understand what the kids are doing. Please explain to me, chat. Does it make logical sense to be telling someone that it's head and oral is off limits because that's for a special someone, but you can insert yourself inside of me and jackrabbit yourself inside of me, bust a nut inside of me possibly if we're doing it raw, and even impregnate me if you make a mistake and don't pull out in time. But what's reserved for the special people is the oral, not the jackrabbiting yourself inside of me. My mouth is too special for you. You're not there yet. But the insides of my body, the thing that's going to actually breathe life, right? Actually birth life into the world, that's not too special for you. I think I'm just going to chalk it up to, I think I'm confused. I think I'm the confused one. I think maybe in the real world, this makes perfect sense to most other people, and it's just me that's confused. I think that's actually the case. I mean, we both wanted it, so nothing was wrong about it. We went on 10 dates total, and between indoor activities, we met outside too. We went to pubs and movies. See, it's not about the fact that you haven't gone on dates and stuff. What I'm referring to is the mindset of thinking that doing oral is too far for where your relationship is, but sleeping together is not too far. Your order of operations is completely backwards here. Completely backwards. Okay? I knew that around a specific time he had to go home, so when we were on a date at his place after bed stuff, again, nothing major happening, and it actually ended weird. Just after did I realize that we did not communicate efficiently about all the bed stuff. TMI, after 3 times, I felt that he was waiting for me to make the pineapples happen, like to actually grab it and put things into action. The bed stuff ended kind of stale, and I got a bit pissed at him, but was trying not to show it. So your hangouts have essentially become relegated to you guys just trying to sleep together. And his little pee-pee can't stand up properly, and you guys are having a bunch of awkward moments that are just weird and a lot of weird energy going on, that the universe is basically trying to tell you, don't do this. You're still forcing it, and basically what you're saying is your dates have went from being about anything except trying to sleep together again. Congratulations. I got up and got dressed, and he did the same. I was ready to leave, but he said to at least finish my drink. So we sat there watching football and finishing drinks. He did not say anything about what had happened, just some random stuff. So basically there's beginning the relationship or the learning of each other is beginning to dwindle away. It's just about sleeping together. After finishing the drink, I got up and wanted to leave. He said that he'll walk me out. What was the point of finishing your drink? To be more drunk when you walk home? take the bus home. On the way out, I asked him what he wanted to do when he went what he wanted to do when he went home. He said that we should do things how I want. And I replied that I didn't know either. So he said to keep in touch. When we got to the door, this is on the way to the door. He said that we should remain friends. And I agreed. Since then, we've had no contact. I didn't post on Instagram for 2 weeks, but after that, I posted a picture and he liked it. I went to a music festival and posted some stories, and he was among the first people to see them. He is not very active on Instagram, but after I started posting, he started posting too. I viewed his story, but after that, I found your channel and started to ignore his posts. I feel like he wants to get my attention. I know that I need to ignore him, but in your opinion, will he come back with serious intentions? Can things get serious after this? No. Meow, no. You sent this on August 3rd. I know it's been quite a while. I hope you're still watching the show. The answer is no. You have made several mistakes in this relationship. One of the biggest ones, which if you're not ready to give a man head, you're not ready to sleep with him. I want to let that be known for all of you. If you're not ready to jerk off a man, you're not ready to sleep with him. If you're not ready to give him a footy, you're not ready to sleep with him. Right? So I just say that to say you do one of them, you gotta be ready to do all of them. And I don't mean that to say like, oh, you gotta be ready. If you want to jump into it, you gotta jump into it right away. What I'm saying is that if you're not ready for some things, but you're ready for other things, then that should tell you overall you're just not ready. Okay? That's what you should take from that. And you need to be focused on, okay, if I feel like I'm unready for some things, but I'm ready for others, it's probably because I'm trying to rush things before I'm actually ready. Maybe I should be patient here and continue building this relationship and this trust until I feel like I'm actually ready. Because the truth of the matter is, the order of operations should never be I'm ready to sleep with you before I'm ready to give you head. That should never be the case. If anything, if there's anything you should be apprehensive for, is sleeping with him, right? So if anything, it should be vice versa, where you're saying, I'm okay with giving you head, but not okay with sleeping with you. At least that would make some logical sense. But 100% of the time, if you're ready to sleep with him, but not do other things with him, you have not paced yourself properly in this relationship, and you have not established a real relationship yet with trust and respect. Okay, meow. That's probably why your name is Meow, because you're so focused on getting your meow penetrated that every date has been relegated to you guys trying to sleep together. To the point where both of you are basically frustrated now. That's why you got up and got dressed, right? Because you guys were both basically frustrated with not being able to sleep together. His pee-pee can't get up no more. You're dry as a desert now, and everyone's frustrated. And all you guys are doing now, when you guys meet each other, why do you think he walked to the door and said, let's just be friends? After 10 dates trying to sleep with you, he couldn't get his pee-pee up. He's like, this is a waste of my time. I don't even want to be friends with her. Or I don't even want to be romantic with her. Because if I can't sleep with her, ain't nothing left for me. So he kicked it to the curb. He said, let's just be friends. It's just a nice way of saying I don't want to speak to you anymore. So I say that to say there's nothing left here for you. Nothing. The mistake you made was not pacing yourself right and not doing the order of operations correctly. And then the second mistake you're making is thinking that this is something that is able to come back from. No. He made it clear to you this isn't going to work for him, and also your relationship had just became you guys trying to sleep together. Him telling you that he wants to, let me let you in on a secret, guys. If a guy tells you that he just wants to be friends, you should never allow that man an opportunity with you again. You need to show people you need to show people and yourself that you are worth so much that if you cannot get it right on the first opportunity, or you don't really know how to put your best foot forward, then you're just not the man for me. You need to adopt the mindset that going into relationships and situationships, I only accept the best, because there's other men willing to do the best. If you go into your talking stages and relationships thinking, oh, well, I guess you can do whatever, and if it doesn't work out, you'll get another chance in a couple of weeks or in a couple of months, or if you come back the right way, then I'll give you a third and a fourth and a fifth chance. When you're thinking like that, you'll get stepped on and you'll get used as a doormat, and the men in your life that are dating you will not have a sense of urgency. And they'll feel like they can do whatever, treat you however, talk to you however, without actually taking care of this relationship and taking care of you. You don't want that. Okay? I want you guys to be urgent for yourself and in your relationships, and make sure that any guy who's going to have access to you in your life is hyper fixated on presenting himself the right way and doing what is necessary to build this relationship with you, not just willy-nilly doing whatever he wants to do. That's not how your relationships should be. Not at all. Not even a little bit. Okay? Right? Let me see here. Let me just make sure this is right. Let's see here. Okay. Does that make sense to you guys so far? Right? You can't let guys be in your life in that capacity where they're barely doing what's necessary to be in this relationship with you. And he's asking you to be friends, and then you're just like, okay, sure, I guess we'll be friends. No. Okay. Next we have here, we'll do you guys, I know you guys want me to be here all day today. We'll do one more today. Okay. We do one more. Okay. Let's see here. We got scroll. We got here. I see. Okay, we could do two more. New video about friends with benefits. IC says, hey, can you please make a live to discuss how to turn a friends with benefits into a relationship? How to make a man that already knows you want to pursue more than pineapples. Sorry, how to make a man that already knows you want him to pursue you more than pineapples with you. Thanks. I actually have a show about how to get your power back, which is essentially this same concept on how to flip the script. But like I always tell you guys, you have to understand with that is going to come a couple realizations. You might realize that when you flip the script on the guy and you stop chasing after him, stop doing all the work for him, he's not going to want to be with you because he was only here for you to do all the work for him in this relationship. So yes, theoretically, you can turn a friends with benefits into a relationship, but the reality of it is most of you will not be able to do that, because a function of it being friends with benefits is because the guys realize that they can get access to you without giving you anything in return. So when he starts having to do more things for you, they get upset and they say, that's not why I'm here in this relationship. And they say, I'm going to go spend my time somewhere else. Okay. Who else we got here? We have a donation in the YouTube chat. AM says, went on a date Sunday. I felt chemistry, good conversation, same values and goals. He paid and drove me home. Today he friend zoned me. Any thoughts why? Do I still have a chance? What's my best move? AM, I would love for you to send that question into into relationship advice so that you can send in more detail. But going on a date and having some conversation doesn't necessarily mean, even though the date might have been good for you, that doesn't necessarily mean the date was good for him. And you have to acknowledge that sometimes guys are going to go out on dates with you for a plethora of different intentions. Some guys might be going out on dates just to pass time. Some guys might be going out on dates to see if they can sleep with you that night. And so sometimes what ends up happening is after going out on a date with you, when a guy realizes that he's not going to be able to get easy access to you, he just says to himself, Not that important to me. I'm not that crazy about her if I can't get easy access to her. That's what some guys say. And some guys, you end up going out on a date with them and you might not be their cup of tea. Okay, doesn't make you a bad person, but you have to realize that that might be the case, and you have to allow men who are interested in you to reach out to you and not do the work for them. That's the thing. Don't get anxious thinking that the way to get him interested in you is by doing the work for him, because anything you do get from him from that point on will be under the preface that you do the work. And that's not a relationship. That's just you being a boyfriend and a girlfriend. Okay, we'll do one more here. So Lima asks how to discuss my V card with a new partner. Vima says, hi, Tomisin. I hope you're doing well. I am doing well now that I'm back with the Players Club members. I met a guy a month ago. He's 28, so now it's 2 months because this message is like a month ago. He's 28 and has a 4-year-old child. Everything is going great. Really great even. During this month, we've been on several dates and he hasn't hinted at pineapples. Though we do flirt occasionally, we never kissed. I only give him smack kisses and he seems frustrated. He has distanced himself thinking that I don't like him, but I told him that I do like him and that even for kissing, I need a bit of time to feel comfortable. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. He was very understanding and told me that he would never push me to do something I didn't want to do and that it has to be mutual. The last time we saw each other, he seemed super distant and consistently on his phone. And when I asked him questions, he gave me vague answers like, you'll find out soon. Is he planning a surprise? Does it sound like a surprise? He seemed totally disinterested. Since that day, we haven't spoken for 10 days. Oh, so that's what he means by you'll find out soon. He means I'm about to ghost you, but you'll find out soon. I didn't message him. He didn't message me either. It was just yesterday that he sent me a message. I replied as if nothing happened, and he was surprised that I didn't seem to care much. He felt obligated to explain, I'm a bit weird. I like to disappear and stay alone at times. I just said, okay. So this response is good because when he comes back, right, he's expecting that you're going to be like all discombobulated that he disappeared. When you say, okay, sometimes the guy goes, oh, that's not really going to do anything to her. But this is the thing. You have to start deciding for yourself, how long is too long for you? So if he starts doing this for a month, right, how long does it become too long for him to be able to come back from it? I don't know if it's because he couldn't get anything from me, as I should also mention that I'm 23 and have never had pineapples. Good. Don't. Because guys can be players and I don't want to sleep with a guy who might leave me the next day. I don't know what to do, Tomisin. Please enlighten me. I need your advice. Okay, very simple, Lima. Continue to do nothing. You're a virgin. Now, in terms, you didn't really mention in your question here discussing it with him, but this was your main question up here. Discussing this with the guy. See, here's the thing. I know this will be scary for some of you who might be in this position and might be virgins. I want you to never forget. Let's just be super real. Okay. For a second, let's be super for real. You as a woman, you being a virgin is not a bad thing. Okay. It truthfully, let's just be so for real. It never, ever makes you less valuable as a woman. Actually, something you should be proud of, okay? You should never feel shame for being a virgin as a woman. In fact, you should be proud of that. If you're not, though, it's not a big deal. It's not the end of the world. Now, I say that to say, Lima, because you don't let guys trick you into thinking that being a virgin devalues you. In guys' eyes, it really doesn't. It really doesn't. They just might be frustrated with the idea that because you're a virgin, it'll probably be harder to get access to you because no one else has. And if they wanted something easy without having to do a lot of work, it's disappointing to realize they're going to have to do a lot of work now. But for you, Lima, I want you to jump out the window and tell guys you're a virgin. Why? Because it will very quickly weed out the men who are not prepared to do anything hard. Realize that it's not decreasing your value. The only reason you're going to see pushback or disappointment from them is because they're going to realize, oh, this is actually going to take work. If she never sleeps with people for free, for fun, then I'm not probably going to be the first guy to do that. And if I know that I'm not here to build something real with her, I'm going to be kind of disappointed in that. I want you to really think about this as well. When you tell a guy that you're a virgin and he really plans on building with you and investing in you, you understand he's going to be ecstatic. He's going to be like, oh my God, the universe has sent me a pure woman who has been untouched by any other man. And this is the woman that's perfect for me that I already want to invest in. He's going to be happy. Why would he not be happy? He already wanted to invest in you. And on top of that, he gets to experience you first. He's going to, someone just said it, Honey said, he's going to feel like he hit the jackpot if he was already planning to invest in you. Now, if he wasn't planning to invest in you, he's going to say to himself, oh God, she's a virgin. She's going to get attached. And oh my God, this is going to be a lot of drama. And I'm not going to be able to sleep with her, or there's going to be so much headache, right? Those are the type of things guys are going to be thinking when they already know they're not here to really invest in you. Be so for real. Lima and anyone else going through this, do you really think guys are sitting down talking to their other guy friends being like, oh, bro, look at this girl that I started talking to and dating. Look, she's perfect. Got a huge dump truck. She's so beautiful. Smile on 10. Yitties on 10. Body on amazing. Personality on 1,000. But the only problem is, bro, would you believe this? This is the only issue. I can't believe this when I found this out. The only problem, bro, is that she's a virgin. Do you think that the guys are going, oh, bro, she was absolutely perfect until you said that she's a virgin, bro. Oh, now you can't deal with her. She's absolutely ruined. Be so for real. Be so for real. The guys would be jumping up for joy and high-fiving each other if that was the case. Okay? And I say that to say, don't let any guy convince you that you have less value because you're that as a woman. Okay. And jump out the window to tell guys that, because it makes your life easy by weeding out guys who never had real intention to build with you in the first place. Think like, never forget to yourself, someone who's willing to invest in you will have no problem investing in you, whether you're a virgin or not, because even if you're a virgin and he's trying to invest in you long term, eventually he will sleep with you. So that day will come. So why be discombobulated about a day that will come? Unless you're not here for a long time, you're just here for a good time. Okay. So that will be a very telltale sign for you on what a guy's intentions are with you if you tell them that at the very beginning. Okay. Right. So use that actually as a tool to weed men out who are serious versus the men who are not so serious. Right. Right. Does that make sense? So I hope you guys got something from that today. I know we stayed a little bit longer. Obviously, I wasn't here yesterday, so I try to stay a little bit longer for you guys. For those of you guys who have questions for me and you want to skip the line, you don't want to wait in line because Lima waited like a month to get her question answered. Sorry, Lima, but there's so many other questions in the Discord. Make sure that you hop into Relationship Advice Premium, and all you got to do to hop into Relationship Advice Premium is donate to the show first. You just go into the link in my bio on TikTok or the link in the description on YouTube. You click that link and you donate to the show with your Discord username and the title of your question. I see it, verify it's you, and I answer your question. You get to skip the line like the VIP pass at a theme park, okay? And it's very awesome. If you don't care that much about skipping the line, you can put your question in the free version as well. Okay. For those of you who want to follow me on Instagram because you want to see everything that I'm doing, I posted on Instagram one of the little pieces that I got that fixed my computer today. That was very important to me. I know some of you guys are like, we don't care about what happened to your computer. We just want to know if you're going to be live. But it's fine. The computer's fine now. We fixed it, and I'm going to be getting a new PC very soon as well and upgrading it. But if you guys want to see everything that I'm doing on Instagram, it's my Instagram is right above my head on the left side of the screen there. It's just Tomisin_Tub, and it's Tomisin_Tub. It's available for you guys on YouTube there at the bottom right of the screen as well. For those of you who are on TikTok and you missed parts of the stream, you want to rewatch the stream in its entirety, or you came late, my entire YouTube page is up there. It's just my name, Tomisin Atobatele, on YouTube there. You type in my name on YouTube, you go into the live section, and you'll see this live show along with all the other live shows that I've ever done since the beginning of time. And the best part is you'll be able to see Sorry, and the best part about it is you'll be able to have the YouTube chat and the TikTok chat embedded in the show, so you never miss any moments of a conversation in the show there. All right, guys? I am here every weekday, Monday to Friday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, so I'll be here again tomorrow with no difficulties at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. You got to figure out what time that is in your time zone. Until then, goodbye for now. Arrivederci. Hasta la vista. Adios. Sayonara. Bon voyage. Like a supervillain. And I'll see you again tomorrow at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. I love you. I love you so much.